This week on the program, we're talking about Mike Pence's favorite movie. It's Psycho. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Erico.
Chris Cabin.
And we love movies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Love Movies. Thank you for tuning in, as always. That's right. It is the official start of We Love Movies month here on the show. We are flipping and flopping the lineup. Everything in the WHM Prime feed this month. Well, it's all We Love Movies, baby. We're getting it started with Psycho from 1960, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Little-known motion picture, but we figured, you know.
Sir, by the way.
What?
Sir Alfred
He was knighted.
Hitchcock.
Sure. Yeah.
Was he knighted? I was not aware. Oh, that's
Sir.
great. That's fantastic.
Great. I've been tasked with finding the Holy Grail.
Oh, this does not appear to be the cup of a carpenter.
Could you help me up? My knees. My knees are they're filling with fluid. Would you help me up?
That dragon is he's completely out of focus. I can't do anything. And I certainly would be slaying here many times.
We warned you to not take the MacGuffin across the seal.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about Benny Hill's what movie?
Psycho. Benny Hill's Psycho.
Right.
Sir Benny Hill's Psycho.
Dude, they're just all running really fast out of all the motel rooms back and forth. The mummy comes out at one point.
With this Bernard Herrmann score, I'd be running.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's great.
And you
it's
know
fantastic.
what? And like we said, maybe it was last year we did North by Northwest, a fucking full-on title sequence to beat that band. Even in black
also
and white,
Saul
it's gorgeous. Yes, Saul Bass.
I'm also, you know what? I just to bring these things back, I am willing to bring back in the animated opening. I'm willing.
A cartoon opening?
Yeah, cartoon openings. If it brings us some of these back, I'm willing to see those as well.
I thought you meant for this, where it'd be like fat Hitchcock cartoon bumping shit, hitting the fucking car. Yeah.
I was pissed. I just saw The Killer last weekend. Fincher's new one.
No cartoon opening?
No, but I went to the bathroom and I came back in the middle of an honest to goodness credit sequence. I'm like, holy shit, it's a Fincher credit sequence, and I missed half of it.
Oh, shit.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to hear that the credits are back.
Credits
Not
are back
animated, though, huh?
No. Fincher were moving around a room kind of a thing, you know.
Oh,
okay.
That would have been a fun one, right? Because he's dressed like Mr. Magoo in that movie.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, awesome credit sequence here.
Can I tell you one time, actually, the most recent time I saw this before this morning, we saw it at Lincoln Center. The New York Phil did a live score
like that
to it. And it was fucking rocking, man. And something I hadn't even thought about until they like the conductor came out and said it was that it's a score. And of course, once I say this, you'll be like, duh, or maybe you're smarter than me and you recognize this. Like, it's all strings. There's no percussion. There's nothing else. This entire score is strings. It was so super cool watching them play this fucking thing. But I mean, even at home, this score will get you ready to watch a movie, which is its job.
Was Lydia Tarr conducting? Was that where she is now?
No, she was at the Five Nights at Freddy's cosplay contest doing that orchestration.
The synthesizer off.
Yes.
But yeah, the score is restrained. You know, we're just doing strings. We're also, Hitch is scaling back some scope here. We don't have, Cary Grant or James Stewart types.
Yeah, this was like a famously low budget movie, and he had already started doing the Hitchcock Presents show, so he was like very fluent in like making cool TV shit on the cheap. And it's amazing, like they, I don't think they intentionally tried to like sidelining him by giving him a small budget, but it's like, I don't know, here's a risky title. Yeah. This is the money you have to do with what you will. And he still knocks it out of the fucking park with no money.
Well, I mean, it reminds you, like, you watch some of those old Twilight Zones and those Alfred Hitchcock presents. You're like, this is as good as any, like, horror movie that you could have. You know what I mean? Like those like 20-minute little masterpieces kinds of things. And I think that, like, on that shoestring, and there's quite a few Twilight Zone actors kind of sprinkled throughout here.
Definitely.
It has that vibe, which is kind of fantastic, and it just sort of like, and I think the black and white helps a lot. I mean, obviously, like, the question of, like, would color have been too gory? Would it have been too whatever? It just sort of, it sets this thing in a tone that is just so, for lack of a better word, cool. Not in a cool way, but like cool in like a from an emotional standpoint. It's very cool.
It's scarier, I think.
Yes.
I don't think it would be as scary in color. I think of to focus you on the shadows rather than like stuff in that. If you look at where Sam works, the hardware store. That's like a Wes Anderson hardware store. If you're looking at how things are placed on like the wall, like knives are in these like little triplets that are like in corners of one frame. It's like, so I think I would just be like looking at all of that rather than focusing on the heart of it, which is these characters dealing with this mystery and finding out about Norman and all of his little weird stuff.
Right. It's definitely not Mr. Gower's crap shack he had in that. Oh my God. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Gower's dressing up as his dead mother and killing people in town. Oh, geez.
Oh, that would make sense, man. That guy could bust an ear. He could probably do much worse too.
Yeah, I think that would be the third reality. I think if like George lived past, like he lived to be like 8, I think that, like, not that it ever existed at all, but if you lived to be about 8 years old, Mr. Gower would have dressed up as his own mother and started murdering people.
Mr. Gower just with a bunch of Willie Nelson wigs in his bumping up on his arm, being like, I'm going to be Bates. I'm going to become Norma.
Also, the black and white here, this movie starts off like a film noir, very much in those tropes, and maybe it's the nail in the coffin of those. But I think that is very effective to draw you in. You're almost watching what you seem to think is a pedestrian kind of story at first.
Yes, and what we have is a really intensely erotic opening here. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like,
dude,
specifically for the time, but not even for the time, really. Just like, it is two people who have fucked their way through lunch, and it's like, it's a real. I love it, Sam. It might not be the first line; it might be the second line or something. Sam's like, "Huh, guess you didn't even have time to eat your lunch. It's like, I fucked your brains out. You hungry yet, baby?
Too busy eating dick."
Excuse me, gonna re-energize with a big chomp of pastrami here.
Exactly.
Get right back to you.
I'll tell you what, man, it is super sexy. Still to this day, you're seeing Janet Leigh, like, getting ready to button up or whatever. I was like, speaking of no one's home.
Mm-hmm. That bra is very sharp.
It is.
Very pointy, as was the style at the time, I feel.
That's what I called them. Yeah.
Watch out, it'll put your eyes out. Get away from your seat. Good back, boys.
Apparently, Hitchcock was never happy with John Gavin's performance as Sam Loomis. He would refer to him as the stiff on set. Oh, get the stiff in there.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of a thankless role to begin with. You know what I mean? You're just sort of like the beleaguered, good intentioned boyfriend. You know what I mean? But
I don't know how you. I mean, to me, I don't know how. I mean, after the first like 30 minutes, it's all Perkins. Like,
yes.
He's the lightning rod. I don't see how you like. It's hard to even like Lila. She does pretty good, but like, like Sam, like. He's just, I mean, he's very handsome. Let's put it that way. He's very nice to look at.
Exactly.
Listening to him and pretending he's a human, not so great, but.
But you're right, Chris. The 30 minutes exactly, I think, is when Perkins shows on screen. But John Gavin, interesting life. Apparently, did you read about this, Andrew, at all? That he was going to be James Bond at some point, an American playing James Bond?
Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that. That would have been awful.
He was apparently signed for a role after Lazenby left, and they put a stop to it because he wasn't British or whatever, but I think he was all paid for it or whatever. Eventually, he became the ambassador to Mexico under Reagan.
Wow.
Weird life.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's interesting.
I'll get my old buddy John down there to sort them out.
You sort them out like you sorted out Norman Bates.
You know, he was supposed to be the American James Bond, Jefferson Pigman.
Oh man,
Pigman. Jefferson Pigman.
I'll have that whiskey with dirt in it.
that is America. That is America. Because we had a lot of British stuff wrong, and this is the other side of the coin. By the way, Hitchcock, I was wrong for correcting you, Andrew, saying Sir at the top. I just Googled it. He was knighted in 1980. At 80 years old, he got knighted by Queen Elizabeth II.
Yes, I am going to need a lift up afterwards. Oh gosh, you got my ear.
Get me those straps you use to move a piano. Wow, so he was knighted the year he died then. He also kicked off in 1980.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's what did him in right there. It was the injury to the knee that did it.
Well, don't they bring down like a giant sword?
Yes.
Maybe the old broad slipped and nicked something.
No, that's a joke from King Ralph.
That to make
Does he do that in King Ralph? I'm pretty sure he does.
I'm sure.
I think so.
Most of what I say is derived from King Ralph in one way or another.
Long overdue, by the way.
That's why you're always talking about Burger King.
Did Hitchcock live to see King Ralph or no?
No, he died in 1980.
Oh, that's a shame.
He was in the middle of pre-production on the third remake of The Man Who Knew Too Much.
So
he's going to go for trio.
If he lasted 11 more years, he could have seen King Ralph. Damn.
Yes, damn it.
He was looking up from hell, just like, oh, I can't believe I missed that one.
But so yeah, they have fucked through lunch. They had sex for lunch. I love sex for lunch. Thanks so much. I will.
Oh yeah.
We'll take it upstairs too. Yeah. We'll just,
they say, he's like, oh yeah, what's the line? You never did eat your lunch, did you? And then there's a shot of the lunch. Total Firefest lunch, man. This sandwich, it looks disgusting. Like, I'd rather be fucking too.
It was 1960, dude. You're talking about her big thing is like, because obviously it's an unmarried situation. Sam's got a sob story about he's divorced and he's paying all this alimony to Luann, wherever she might be or whatever her deal is.
Literally not living in the country anymore.
Yeah,
says.
dude. All this, but she's still getting all these hardware monies. I love it. And
Good for her.
Exactly. But speaking of the food, like her thing is like, because what they're doing is irrespectable, and she's trying to maybe bring them into respectability. It's like, what I'd like you to do is come to my house, meet my sister. We'll have the picture of my mother on the wall. Yikes, by the way. We'll broil a steak for 3. That is the height of 1960s cuisine.
It's true.
Yeah.
Broiling a steak for 3.
Absolutely.
Oof.
And the other thing of like that time, like, come over and you're just gonna like have this awkward dinner with me and my sister, and it's gonna be like, here's my new boyfriend. He's freshly divorced. We definitely haven't been fucking Vera Miles. Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I hear that line and I'm like, what an awkward situation that would be for Sam Loomis.
I mean, they're sharing a steak for 3 that is also probably pumped with chemicals that DuPont wouldn't look at.
You better finish it or else you can't eat your Jell-O mold afterwards.
Exactly.
It's supposed to glow like that. No, it's supposed to glow. It's a healthy thing for that to happen.
More milk. Would you like more milk with your steak? You can drink some milk when you have your steak, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Sam, we're in a little bit of a rush. Why don't you just put all that gristle in the milk and drink it all at once?
Well, that's how the protein shake was invented.
Yeah, dude, you gotta finish that gristle.
I do enjoy a good gristle shake.
Oh my!
Gristled milk, please. Yes.
Oh, what is this? Oh my God! I missed King Ralph, and what is it? I missed the great outdoors. Oh my God! The raccoons are talking. My God!
Pardon me. Another thing I've missed from hell. There's a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Oh damn! And now I wouldn't have had to have just ordered 2 at the same time and combined them together, as was my habit when eating McDonald's.
The king of burgers not only has a chicken sandwich, but an Italian chicken sandwich with marinara sauce on it. I must have them by the triple.
That's Hitch's hell is actually just watching all these fast food commercials. Like, oh no, I would have loved that.
What? A baconator? Good God. I truly was born ahead of my time.
They should knight the baconator at this point.
I am so sick of the devil bringing the mickery back and taking it away. When I've never even tasted the damn thing, I still have to know when it comes back in circulation.
I can't go to the last secret Papa Gino's because it's in heaven. And they won't let me up there to go and get a slice from Papa Gino.
Wait a minute. A double down, you say? You replace the bread with fried chicken tenders? Amazing.
I went to the craft services once and I tried to invent that, but they said I was mad.
Mad, I tell you.
But and look, obviously this is like we're pushing what is left of the Hays Code as far as we can go because they have clearly had sex. Like they are.
Oh yeah.
It's not. We're not doing twin beds and just you know what I mean. Like they are.
Oh no, it's a single bed. She's in like a slip laying on it. Like they're going to leave, and she's like, "I'm gonna go ahead of you. Like we're not gonna leave this hotel at the same time. I'm late, and you still have to put your shoes on." Which means they were off because we were having hot hotel sex.
Oh yes,
right
no
this.
shoes on. Hell yeah.
Even the language that's not talking about directly about sex is very sexual. When he talks about sweating out debts and sweating out all these things, but when she says, "I'll lick the stamps," Jesus H. Christ.
Yes.
When she says put your shoes on, she might as well be also saying, "And your dick is out." By the way,
Exactly.
I think for today's audiences, it might not seem as hot, but it is. Like licking stamps. It's as hot as you could get in 1960.
Sorry, Marion.
It's a 1960 Janet Leigh. Let's just put that out there.
And licking a stamp.
Sorry, Marion. I was in the bathroom pissing on my own used condom, that which I then flushed down the toilet. Now let's talk about our relationship.
Let's get out of here, Marion, before they come in and realize they definitely have to change the sheets. Let's go.
There's the stank in here.
All right, we open on a used condom, and urine is spraying upon it in a toilet seat. You understand? I can't do that.
Well, then you could cut to like the dead eye slowly and twirl around and kind of compare it to the condom in the drain.
It's kind of like a Méliès pastiche, very magical, and the condom in the piss.
But very specifically, they want to be together. And they can't because of all of Sam's financial limitations. He can't take care of her. And it's like 60, so it's kind of the whole scenario. You know what I mean? And like he says, even like if we got together, you'd have to, you could live. I guess where he is living is in the storeroom of his own hardware store.
Yep,
which may be above a bowling alley and beneath another bowling alley.
He's sleeping on a cot that also houses like the most recent crate of nails that was delivered to the store. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This dude lives a shitty life. And I think part of it too is he's also like, they don't really talk about it, but I think it's there. And especially with the time. He's like, your job, Marion, is better than mine right now. And I can't fucking have that.
Yes.
I can't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I can't steal no $40,000 from the hardware store. I ain't never had no $40,000 in the hardware store.
That's what's so interesting to me. And like, I've seen this movie maybe, like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times, but details you always kind of misremember. Like I always remember it as Marion pulling off a scam that she had been cooking for a while. But I love the way, I love that it's not that it is this sort of like completely serendipitous thing. Like obviously we've just set it up by explaining exactly her money woes and how much this money could mean to her. Kind of a thing, and then it walks.
The opportunity falls in her lap. Yes,
and
she runs with it. It's sort of like a film noir kind of.
No, it absolutely is. Yeah, like couple having sex out of wedlock, money problems, shitty ex-wife. Like it would just tilt full noir if it was like now we just have to kill her, right? But that's not where it goes. She goes back to work after the sexy lunch break, and she works for a real estate office in. Downtown Phoenix there and
Lowry Real Estate. George Lowry.
Mr. Lowry is almost back from his lunch date with Mr. Cassidy, the latest high-rolling spender here, but she walks in, and here's her coworker Caroline, played by Pat Hitchcock.
Oh man!
Which give this lady the fewer lines, the better. Obviously.
I think she has fun with it.
Piece of shit. No, she's fine.
The tranquilizers thing is funny.
Yes, it's a funny little bit about like, oh, I have tranquilizers and blah blah blah. Like she's like, oh, did anyone call? She's like, well, Tom called for me, and then my mom called to see if Tom had called. It's just kind of, I don't know. I was.
It's funny, but here's my thing with Pat Hitchcock, because she's been in a few of his movies over the years.
Mm-hmm.
She sort of looks like the mother, Alma Revel, but she also really looks like Hitchcock, and more importantly, kind of has like the same accent as him. So it's kind of like a little like Lil Hitchcock, and it always freaked me out. It just always freaked me out with her. But it is very funny, and all the stuff about like, yes, mother, give me the tranquilizers and whatever else.
It's a good script.
I missed the what do you call it there? The cameo. I didn't see it. I didn't see his cameo. And I think
he's
it's right
like
here,
right outside. And she's
apparently in a cowboy hat, by the way. That's what IMDb had me believe. I didn't see it.
He's looking good, man. My man's looking good. But
Yeehaw.
Backing Bronco.
If you wear a cowboy hat, you shouldn't be able to get knighted by the Queen of England.
Yeah, that's true.
At any time.
Oh, I got another letter from Pat. She says, oh my God, they're putting cheese in the crust now.
Oh no, it's a cowboy hat. It's kind of like a more of a modern cowboy hat. He looks like a guy that would be standing right behind Lee Harvey Oswald when he got shot.
Yes.
That's the kind of cowboy hat we're going.
Yeah.
But I just put it
slowly walk him down the parking lot to his death or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Oswald.
Yeah, totally. This is like, it's not so much a cowboy as like a dude who works in law enforcement who believes himself to be a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of cowboy hat we're talking about.
Pathetic.
Slowest gun in Hollywood.
You can say it. He looks pathetic. It's a pathetic look. It's a sad and pathetic look. And like, he's the director, so I get it. It's fine. He's having a little fun.
Yeah, he's having fun. He's having a little fun time.
Well, I mean, at least he's not like his boy there, M. Night Shyamalan, who needs fucking 30 lines of cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. And Hitchcock.
I'm sorry for what I did to you and yours. I'm sorry.
As he's got more popular over the years, he was like, people are looking for it and they're distracting from the movie. I will just be at the top. Everyone can have a laugh and then we can get on with it. Unlike M. Night showing up at like the ass end of the village and all that shit, man. No thanks.
No.
Well, I guess
get it over with, buddy.
He didn't have a Pat to shove in there, so that's the problem.
But yes, they come back from they had Marion had a sex lunch. They had a whiskey lunch for sure. They had a real 1960s cocktail lunch.
Lunch was great back then, right?
lunch was great.
Sucks now. Like you could have sex and whiskey, one or the other, or both, maybe during lunch back in the day. Now, what is it like a little sandwich from some fucking shop? Oof.
I mean, you can still have a whiskey lunch. What they were having and what you can't have anymore is a whiskey and slurs lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got this Cassidy guy who is from Texas who looks like he's very into language. I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course he is. He's got a way with words, dude. He comes in and he goes, boy, it's hotter than fresh milk out there. What a gross thing.
Oh, man.
Just think about that milk coming out of that hot udder.
And I'm curious because who did it in the Lowry?
I never really thought about that. I guess milk comes out like hot, like piss, huh?
Yeah. It's from a body.
It really just colors milk for me.
Oh no, I was huge drop by Gus Van Sant because this guy has such oh God, what's his name? Bill Murray's older brother, Brian Doyle Murray energy and voice. He's got the rasp and like that is the guy to do your shot for shot remake.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's kind of just a nobody who plays that.
Yeah,
guy,
like
right?
Chad Everett. I never actually saw the shot for shot remake.
Oh,
I saw it precisely once, and I didn't think much of it. I know a lot of people like it.
Come on down to Cassidy's Arcade.
Exactly. Well, you see, sweetheart, she's got a bow in her hair. That's why I'm giving you $40,000.
So yes, so Cassidy is buying a house for his daughter who's about to be married.
My
and he's got $40K. It's
babies.
disgusting. All this shit. Oh, my little baby's growing up. Tomorrow she's gonna get married and she won't be my baby no more.
But it's so like it's such a perfect thing for Marion to be like, fuck this guy. She's like, I like to bring it around. I don't carry anything I can't afford to lose. $40,000. She's gonna set my baby up. She's 18, by the way. She's about to get married to the love of her life. Like two nails in fucking Marion Crane's coffin already. And then it's like she's never known a hard day in her entire life. And if she did, I'd buy it away. And it's like I'm gonna steal this money.
Oh yeah, well, I had sex for lunch.
I had 8.5 inches for lunch, all right?
Did you bring any of that left over?
There's salami for me.
A little bite of
8.5
sex,
inches
maybe?
looks like Subway ripped you off.
Okay, but I'm gonna buy it for my little baby. And would you like to be my little baby? I could make you in the crib and be my little baby.
Dude, what does he say to her? He goes, "Sometimes I can keep my mouth shut." Yuck.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. When I'm fucking motorboating.
and what that means is I don't go down on any women.
Yeah, of course.
I looked it up, by the way. $40,000 in 1960 was just about $416,000.
Not too fucking shabby.
Pretty good. I think that's the thing. Is like she takes the money and gets out of there, and she's working there for 10 years. You know, I mean, why wouldn't you throw away 10 years of your life for $400,000?
My God, yeah, exactly.
I would do it right now. I would do the exact same things.
For George Lowry? I mean, for this piece of shit? Are you serious? Like, come on.
For the money.
Well, what's wrong with Lowry?
I don't know. He kind of seems boring.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's fair.
But basically, like he gives her 40 grand. She's like, oh, I think George Lowry's like, now bring that right to the bank. And she's like, oh, by the way, I have this headache. I'm probably just gonna go home. And like, it's just so interesting. Like, it's very clear. Like, she has the idea, but she's not entirely sure what she wants to do with it yet. Like, it's all this, a lot of internal acting, which I really.
That's
appreciate.
why it's so much better than instead of like what you misremember it as.
Yes,
Steve,
exactly.
like this long con, because the opportunistic like seat of her pants, like, oh my God, I'm doing that. Like
yes, exactly.
The rush of all that, the will I won't I kind of a thing.
Woo.
I do like, so it's like, oh, me and your boss are gonna go inside he's got the air conditioned office, of course, not out here. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're gonna go in there and drink some more whiskey. You take the rest of the day off or whatever. And like they go in the office, and Pat Hitchcock, I have to say this, I was giving her a little bit of guff, but this is a funny line where he's like, oh wow. She goes, he was hitting on you. He wasn't hitting on me. Must have seen my wedding ring.
Yes.
Yes, I made a joke in my own film about how my own daughter is homely, you see.
Now, me and George are going to go and hang out in here in the AC room, and we're gonna read the first pornographic magazine, The Cheeky Broad.
Well, I want to go into George's office. I heard he's got air conditioning in there. I heard so much about it. Want to see what all the fuss is about. Conditioned air. What?
Oh, I thought it would make my hair all soft and silky.
So it's just cold air. Why don't they just call it the air cooler? What's the condition? What is it?
Great question, actually. How we landed on conditioner for that device, I don't know. Also, what
am I shampooing the air as well?
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking cheapskate! The rest of the office, like where the two of them are sitting, not that much more square footage, you cheap fuck.
Yeah, then but that's 2 units, dude. That's 2 different units.
Sure.
That's
And
expensive.
1960 air conditioner would shake the entire building.
And that's one less champagne dinner for Lowry if he has to get that thing up there.
Son
And
of a bitch.
he's not going to allow that shit.
So, I mean, good on her having this filthy sex and torrid affairs and then getting all this money and getting out of town. Almost the perfect crime.
We also learned that her sister is out of town for some reason. Like, there's another a dropped line that Patricia Hitchcock has. Like, oh, your sister called. She'll be out of town all weekend. So it's like, she doesn't even need to say goodbye to anybody. She's just fucking out.
Yeah.
Yep. We see her packing up her suitcase, and if you are into reading film semiotics or whatever, like this wardrobe tells you that she has made the decision because in the previous scene, her undergarments were all white, aka, innocence. Now she's wearing black. Misdeeds are about to be done or have decided to be done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and someone I guess could go off and be like, okay, that's like traditional, that's lame, that's simple. But like honestly, you get all this decision making and it's pretty potent almost all through images. It's not and like I don't have to listen to any like you go to a donut shop and you hear about like some friend of a friend getting arrested for something and then decide you're not going to do it or do it. Like that shit's lame. Like this is actually like making me pay attention to what is in the frame is what's important, and they do that.
And a fucking Bernard Herrmann score that is just fucking off the rails already. You know what I mean? Like the score is just going nuts.
And beautiful photography. Yeah, I mean, you could just make it all silent and I would still love this movie.
Well, so much of this movie is dialogue free, but at this point, yeah, you're right. Like she's not standing in the middle of her apartment going, you know what? I'll do it. I'll steal the $40,000.
That would drive me insane. By the way, of the many influences this movie has had, many imitators to the throne, I will say one of the great things that it has influenced is the Busta Rhymes classic "Give Me Some More," because that Bernard Herrmann score really gets put to use.
So he sampled that, huh?
Yeah, it's just that it's the strings over and over with a small jazz sample in between. It's really good.
Nice. I like that.
Oh,
I can't
recall that tune,
but I also think that like this beginning, not unlike my most rented movie from Blockbuster Video, From Dusk Till Dawn. The beginning before the weird shit happens, totally works as its own movie. Like, you know what I mean? You could just watch her go off and like, either have, maybe Sam gets involved and you know what I mean? Like there's a whole movie there.
Right.
It could just be the straight film noir. Like it's set up as a film noir and could continue to be that. It decides to take a left-hand turn into a completely different genre, just like that movie does.
Yes.
Which I think is fascinating. So she gets in the car, and this is, man, I love this. The whole, like, I'm skipping work, and I saw somebody from work.
Oh, did you see your boss? It's the worst fucking thing in the world. I'd be like, shit.
Absolutely. And it's like, you got to be like, I don't know, man. I fucking ran out of toilet paper, and I had the shits, and I had to go to the store and get more. Sorry, Mr. Lowry.
Well, that's the problem right there, is because that's what he has done. He has now forced you to spend at least part of the whatever day you have in front of you having to cook up some fucking story to him to tell it like what the fuck I was out there. Yeah, like as you say, like maybe I had to take a shit. Maybe I had to go get a rotisserie chicken. Who knows?
I had to take a shit in my car in the middle of downtown Phoenix.
Look, I like the fucking bathrooms at Sotheby's. Okay,
that would be me though. Like I'd be so nervous about this. You got the 40 grand and you see your boss like, oh fuck, I'd be like, I'm taking a shit. I need a toilet paper. Like I'm just like screaming in the street from my car.
Accidentally buy $40,000 worth of toilet paper in the moment. I mean, I think in this scenario, I'd be scared and I'd go right to the bank and be a good boy.
Oh yeah, just chicken shit out. Yeah, for
Probably,
sure.
Yeah.
Anybody try to ever like play hooky and get caught seeing someone on the outside where you shouldn't be? School, not just work.
I did, but it was from by someone at the company I liked and who liked me, so we were fine. So he was just like, oh, hey man. I was like, oh hey, and that was it.
What were you skipping work for?
I just called out sick, even though I wasn't.
You had to throw shit. Yeah.
Classic move.
I think I was seeing a girl. That's, I mean,
in the age of social media, like I think there were a couple times, like early on social media, where it was like, definitely can't come in today, and then like posted about like doing something that night that was totally rocking, and I was like, oh wait,
that was a mistake.
Well, I mean, like, thank God I didn't grow up with social media, because then I would post shit like that, and you'd get in trouble immediately, and you'd get fucked up.
That's true. If this movie took place from 1960, did it now, she would be taking selfies with the money and being like, guess who stole $40,000 from her job?
Yeah, she'd be posting photos of her lunch, which is just sex.
To her OnlyFans. Yep. So she, drives on into the night. I love all this driving footage, the score behind it.
And we don't have the imagined conversations yet, right?
Not just yet.
No. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. But she pulls over. This movie. I mean, funny enough, the comparison. I mean, it could have aired as like a multi-part television thing. There's like literally commercial breaks built into it by the use of the fades to black. This is one of them. You see her like get a little drowsy and her eyes kind of start to close and fades to black. And it's like,
Don't
Psycho, brought to you by Winchester Cigarettes.
Don't say this, Andrew. This is gonna end in a Mike Flanagan miniseries of Psycho, and I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
I don't think so, Chris, because they already made that abysmal television show.
Bates Motel.
So,
oh God, yes.
No way. I watched 2 episodes of that and checked the fuck out of that motel.
No, thank you.
By the way, very different movie. Honestly, Marion Crane is lucky that she is stabbed in a shower the next night, because what could have happened to her sleeping on the side of the highway is way, way worse. Like, I will take getting stabbed in the shower by a dude dressed like his own mother, as opposed to, I don't even know what fucking
Hills
hellbilly.
Have Eyes.
Exactly. Some hellbilly deluxe shit.
You think that's an either or, like if you have to be murdered in the shower, or if you sleep too long on the side of that highway, hellbillies are pulling you out of there.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, you're getting fucking T-boned by a Dragula.
Yeah, you get dragged into the back of someone's Dragula, and then like you'll be our new mother, or God knows what. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're impregnated with some fucking demon seed. It gets bad out there.
You know,
folks.
it's funny you mentioned the hellbillies, and this kind of has that similar vibe of like you're far out of town.
Mm-hmm.
It's this desolate area, and that's where the creeps are. This is sort of like Texas Chainsaw turf.
Yes. Oh yeah,
almost.
totally.
I mean, driving from Arizona to California. I mean, I guess so, but I think what you're probably thinking more. I mean, Dennis Rader was only one man. You know, he wasn't an army. Like
you can't be everywhere at once.
Every parked car isn't going to be attacked by Dennis Rader. Like, it's not going to happen.
Well, this is like
that guy.
It's pre-Zodi too, you know.
Way pre-Zodi. This is Ed Gein or bust, basically, is what we got in the
he was too far north for Marion Crane, unfortunately.
Well, I would definitely pick Ed Gein. If I'm gonna get murdered by someone, I want to get murdered by someone who uses my bones for use. You know, does make some good furniture out of me. That'd be great.
Use the whole cow, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. I respect that.
The whole buffalo. Yeah,
that's
all parts of the hog. Absolutely.
But some nosy ass cop. She is really giving it to this nosy ass cop, by the way. It's great.
This T-1000 looking motherfucker banging on the window, man. It's also a weird, like, he's driving by and then like sees that it's an empty car and it's like a hello, and he does a quick like reverse in this car. This bulky ass old 1950s police car, man. This thing looks fucking
He probably
crazy.
just drives out, he sees a woman pass out. Like, another sex crime. Better check it out. Better check it out.
Oh, Dennis didn't get here yet. Damn. Okay,
looks like
maybe I
somebody-
can do something.
Looks like somebody had lunch for dinner. Pull over here. Check this out. With the shots of him like shoving his nose into her business is great, because his nose is so huge in these shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it keeps like the close-up keeps getting more and more extreme as the conversation gets more intense. And she's got some great lines where she goes, "I'm in a hurry and you're taking up my time."
Yes.
Woof, dude.
But I love the blackness of the glasses, though.
Yeah.
And how that really defines his personality from the get-go, and you get exactly what this character is and is for like the 2 sequences he's in.
Well, this is a 1-2 shot, a 1-2 punch of Marion fucking this up royally.
Yep.
Cop wakes you up, you're like, oh my, and she does say like, oh, I accidentally, slept, blah, blah. You got to eat a little shit here, Marion. You got to listen to the lecture and be like, you're totally right, officer. Next time, thank you so much for saving my life.
Exactly.
You're a hero as you drive away. Like, stroke this dude's ego. And the way she fucks up with California Charlie, I can't even begin. That's preschool shit, Marion. And California Charlie is not the hardest dude you got to deal with, but you fuck it up royally.
So this dude takes her license for like 2 seconds, gets a look at this license plate, which says anal 709, which is pretty wild.
That was, it's my old car. Might as well use it. Yes, my personalized plates, anal 709. Hey, Pat, your mom did anal.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's the ass man.
Yes. Alma, anal, not so different, really.
So she speeds off here, and this is where we get her driving, and it's kind of interesting because like, you know, they read as like she's thinking about these imagined conversations, you know, what could they be saying about me? But also like it could be audio ripped directly. I mean, there's so like right spot on, you know, like first it's like the Mr. Lowell there or whatever, the real estate guy, and his talking with Caroline. Oh, she didn't come in yet. Oh, I called the house, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
All that kind of conversation. And like just that sort of the paranoid thinking is just exacerbated by the only thing you're hearing outside of that, which is
exactly.
you know, it like music is the driving force in this. I mean, any other kind of score, I feel like the tension is not there. I mean, especially for these kinds of scenes.
It'd be great if that music was not that was diegetic and that was what she was listening to. You know what? I gotta calm down. This is not relaxing me. We go to the lesson. Any way you want. All right, yeah, that's the way you need it.
You're totally right though, Steve, about that, because there's the part where so when she's like, you know, all right, yeah, have a good day, fuck off, pig. She speeds off, and as soon as she hits the gas pedal, the music kicks back in when she's back on the road, and it's like, did you just turn the radio back on? What is this tape deck?
Also, I just love that like she's getting away from this cop, and the cop is following her for a little bit, and it's like, ooh boy, been there.
Oh yeah,
oh man.
Oh, thank God.
How long am I looking in my rear view?
Exactly, and thank God he gets off at that next exit. But then he follows her somehow again.
Yeah,
he
sure
finds
does.
her.
Gets to California Charlie's, and she pulls off here. Now, yeah, it's see the problem with Marion's whole plan here is like the timing of everything, right?
Sure.
And like this urgency that only she has put on the situation.
Yes.
Right? The paranoia of like they're right behind me this whole time. And here again with California Charlie, you're rushing this guy, and like, you know, it is the mission of a used car salesperson to keep you at that lot all day and waste your day and fucking wear you down until you finally agree to whatever bonus things, you know.
You won't be having any sex for lunch today. We got to negotiate.
I love it. He's like, oh, I don't want any trouble. She's like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, you know what they say? The first customer is always trouble. And she's like, oh, God, kill me.
You know what they say is the first customer always stole $40,000. They always say that around the old car salesman
They always
circuit.
say the old used car salesman routine, you know, the first woman on the lot's probably a thief.
Yep.
And so she winds up, you know, she's like, oh, you know what? And it's a smart move, you know, smart play for crime. You know, you want to trade in. She's looking at the California plates. Like, that's probably part of it. You know, you got these Arizona plates. You got some California plates. They'll be smooth, good to go.
But I mean, I don't know how it worked in 1960. That's not how license plates work.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, like you just don't buy a car and it's like, here are the license plates that come with that car.
I mean,
it is different back then. I don't know.
I mean, it is. I mean, this switch is like he milks it for everything, like the slow process of like, well, don't slow down here, lady. But to your point,
First time the customer ever high pressured the salesman.
Yeah. Because the thing he keeps saying is like, well, don't you want to take it for a test drive? And it's like, the answer is yes. Like, yes, I would love to take it for a test drive, California Charlie. That's fucking a great idea. You know what I mean? Take it around.
It's just like, he's just like, what? People are trying to offer me money. What? What's this now? No, that's not right.
I don't need $700, lady. Don't be shoving $700 in my hand.
But she looks like drug money at this point, because he's like, oh, he even asks like, you do have the paperwork to say that you own this car, right? You know what I mean? 'Cause he's getting wise a little bit.
Again, and like this is where like Marion, you need to sniff this out better, right? Because he says that line, and instead of being like, oh, of course, let me, you know, whatever, she's like, yes, all the paperwork's in order. You fucking hillbilly. You know, like the tone in her voice is, you fucking hillbilly, like for all of this. And then the fucking cop pulls up, and at that point, you absolutely have to acquiesce to the test drive. This fucking cop's crossing the street. He's about to start sticking his nose in this business or whatever.
I don't know, ma'am. You're looking awfully like one of them dealers of that wild caught cocaine. Not the cocaine you used to get from the medicine store. No. The stuff that you got to go and snort in nightclubs and jazz clubs and cigarette bars.
Yeah, not the stuff Mr. Gower was selling.
No, not Mr. Gower's legal heroin.
Yes.
But she's like, well, how much is it going to cost? You know, just straight up, you give. I take this car, you take that car. And it's like, that plus $700. Like, fine, cash good. And he's like, I guess so.
Could I have asked for more?
Yeah.
Well, he's personally insulted that she doesn't fight him on the
Yes.
He's like, no haggling. Why am I alive?
I got to be honest. I don't think I've ever haggled in my entire life. I don't think I'm not a haggler. Like, you tell me what the price is, I'll say okay.
I've avoided it. Like,
yes,
you avoid it at all costs. Why would I want to do that?
You know, here's how little I enjoy haggling. Quick story. The last time we were in San Francisco, just back this past May, I got super high and I went to Alcatraz.
Nice.
And on the way back, you know, a little hungry. There's a fella right by the ferry exit selling hot dogs. So I go up and I'm like, yeah, you know, 1 hot dog, please. And it looked like with the works and everything looked real great. And as I'm like waiting for the dude to tell me how much it is, like I pull out a 10 and I'm holding it and I go, how much for the hot dog? And he goes, he looks at my hand holding the bill and goes, $10.
And
like,
you coming.
Sure, I was fucking baked as a cake, but I knew through all of the haze, in that moment, I knew that's bullshit. And then proceeded to exchange a $10 bill for a single hot dog and walked away.
Wow.
Because I did not want to be dealing with like, that's not how much it costs. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Because then if you like, oh, you get $3 or $4 back instead, but now you've wasted time talking to this fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just walk away?
$10 a hot dog? They don't put bourbon in it or nothing?
Yeah. I'm going to say, do they have like truffle jelly inside it or something? Like something special? Or
It had some fried onions on it and,
Right.
you know, ketchup and mustard. Not really anything. Nowhere close to $10 of value.
That sounds like a $5 dog. That sounds like I would be okay with being I would purchase that for $5.
Now, all these months later, I'm looking back. I realized what I should have said was, I didn't want 3 of them. Let's see what he says there.
Next time we're out there, let's roll up on this guy.
Yeah,
you know?
fine. Track him down.
I'd love to exact revenge on that guy. Put him in the rock.
That'd be amazing. Break
But
his
that-
Dog
legs.
thievery.
Now Marion's driving away, and now she's imagining like what the cop is talking to California Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie reprises, first time I ever seen the customer high pressure the salesman. Huh.
Yeah.
You hear that? Hey, one more time. I'll get you what. It's a good line. I like it, so I'm gonna keep using it. And then she imagines. My favorite thing is like back at the office, the guy, the money man, the oil man or whatever. Cassidy is just like, and if I can't find that money, I'll take it out of her tender flesh.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
It says
Pinhead? Is he Pinhead?
No, that means I get to have lunch.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, dude. He goes, I ain't about to kiss off $40,000.
Yes.
And what's awesome about this is in this moment, it's the kiss off $40,000, and you know the guy's like, "You checked with the bank, no?" and all this stuff. And as she's imagining this lecherous creep that was like sexually harassing her the day before, getting so pissed off about this, Janet Leigh, I mean, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Just this like gentle smirk starts coming across her face. Fuck, she's just like, yeah, fuck you, Cassidy. Ooh.
Yes.
Her sister, this little all these imagined conversations or I mean real I don't know if that's what's cool about him is that you don't know what if she's imagining or this is actually what's happening. But like what I love is they reveal how low rent the store Lila works for is. It's a music store called the Music Maker's Music Store.
Yes.
Like anything, you don't want to call it Lila's Music Hut or anything like that.
Come
Get
in
some
the
person
Music Maker's Music Store. We're selling bongos for 3/4 of the price of regular bongos.
Going back to school and your child needs a recorder for music class? Come on down to Lila's Music Emporium.
Look at all of our huge
Music.
books of written music that they could learn to read someday.
Music Maker's Music Store. Now buy one piano seat, get the second one at the exact same price. We can't afford to give them away for cheaper.
Music
Sorry.
Maker's Music Store. We're just down the street on Johnson Avenue from the Dildo Factory.
Ooh, now that's a
So-
business.
Don't mind the rust on these saxophones. They'll still blow you away.
There it is. I do like also this in this like, well, it's weird because I sort of lean towards it's imagined because of the smirk.
Yeah.
But then also this dude, and then she could have imagined this too, because like it's a logic thread you could follow of this guy. Like you hear Cassidy's voice being like, and of course she was hitting on me. She was flirting with me, or you know, just
She grabbed my cock, I swear to God.
Speaking of, we were talking about It's Wonderful Life a little bit earlier. He was Sam Wainwright in that.
Oh,
Piece of
okay.
shit.
Who's Sam Wainwright? One of the high school buddies?
Yeah, that goes away and makes it big or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course.
Sam Wainwright.
Yeah,
Unless I'm mistaken.
Same actor, Frank Albertson.
You're lucky, Lowry, that I didn't sue you for sexual harassment when she was trying to stroke me off the other day.
Oh, God.
Hey, Sam, it's me, George. You got that $40,000 you promised? Wait, what?
Oh, no, it's happening again.
You know what? No, I really wish I was never born. This is fucking bullshit.
Oh, hey, Mary, the town's going to want me dead again.
Apparently, some tart stole $40,000 from Sam Wainwright.
No, you don't understand. If you don't live, then this woman won't be stabbed to death by this guy in the shower. Look at all the good you've done by being alive.
So yeah, she's driving along, having these thoughts. The rain starts coming down hard, and what do we see off in the distance? Ooh, a neon light for the Bates Motel, and yes, they have vacancy.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing: just a little like safety tip out there for all you road warriors and whatnot, like to drive long distances and whatever. If you find yourself at a roadside motel, and obviously some are better quality than others, but if you're in the middle of the night, you find yourself at a roadside motel and you go in the front office and no one's at that front desk, just get back in your car and drive away.
Yep, there could be
Yeah,
a
right
history of violence happening.
Yes.
You don't know.
Well, I want to maybe the flip of that. If you're a bargain hunter,
Yeah.
why don't you just go into one of these rooms, kick down the door? They're weak. They haven't been, they're not up to code probably.
These
You
are
just get
shitty looking doors. You're right.
You can get right in there. You get a free night's sleep. You don't have to pay the $5.
But she looks up at the house and sees the shadow of what appears to be a little old lady, or maybe a Kevin McAllister Christmas party passing by the window. It's either a little old lady or Michael Jordan. One of them is passing by the window.
Just off in the distance. Hey, Santa Claus. Hey, Santa Claus. Hey, Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
We are very close, or we're getting close to Christmas, because what is it? The beginning of the movie, we're told that it is
December 11th.
December the 11th. Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. December the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th.
Nothing happened that day.
Yeah.
But immediately Norman Bates comes out. She starts talking the horn like, come on, let's fucking figure this shit out.
She's laying on this horn, man. And he comes down, and man, fucking Perkins, just from like the first frame of him in this movie, you're like, yep, this is great. This is a fully realized character.
I love that Anthony Perkins gave David Byrne the entire idea for his wardrobe. I think that's phenomenal. I mean, it's really good stuff.
He's just so unassuming and nice and like boyish and charming and nerdy. Like it's all there. Like I think there's a point when like he won't even say the word bathroom because he's a little uncomfortable by it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
bet this guy has lunch for lunch. What a loser.
Oh, dude, this guy's never had sex for lunch or sex for breakfast.
Not at all.
He's just having these disgusting mayonnaise and cheese sandwiches that we see them eating in a minute.
1960s food, man. No, thank you.
Absolutely not. But yeah, we're told 12 rooms, 12 vacancies. Like the nervous little laugh that he has is so great.
I'm going out of business. It's all going downhill.
I'm rotting
Failed
away.
Family business. Oh, yeah. Oh, destroyed by capitalism.
The highway.
How do you move a highway? Can you just move a highway, folks? What the fuck?
Yeah, you can, apparently. Usually they do it through black communities and bulldoze them. That's usually what happens.
That's right. But yeah, something about they built a new highway, I think is the idea.
So I do love, he's like, oh yeah, you can send your friends a letter. We've got a Bates Motel stationery. Make your friends jealous. But I won't murder you, by the way. Just don't let my polite chuckle. It's so good. It's like that. It's like between charming and scary, like or too awkward.
Well, yeah. I mean, only a creep of some sort would say the term fancy umbrella like that. Like that's I would. He's on the scale somewhere, but it might be towards the charming end.
It's great too because it's like apparently in the book, Norman was short, fat, and old, like in his late 40s, like an old kind of grizzled. He was like unappealing, and then Hitchcock was like, no, let's make him kind of like a cute young boyish guy that is really affable, and you kind of root for him because he cared so much about the twist at the end, like you know what I mean. And it's painstakingly obvious, and obviously we all know what the twist is, but I think it's one of those great twists because the movie doesn't lose a beat when you know what it is.
That's
actually, you know what I mean? It's just it's just as good.
I kind of wish this is one of those movies I wish I could see opening night in 1960 and see what that was like. It's sort of like Planet of the Apes. There's 1,000 other movies that I could say the same thing about, but this one especially.
That's one of the things I was curious about. Did anyone get to see this movie without having it ruined through pop culture osmosis?
No, pop culture definitely let me know what the score was by the time I did see this.
Looney Tunes or Tiny Tunes or whatever the fuck, like ruined it for me years before I saw this movie.
100, I mean 100 different. I mean they talked about this in everything. Even the 90s brought it back up. I think a lot. I mean, but to the point about the original description, like I love Anthony Perkins in this role, but seeing like Ernest Borgnine as it's that might be interesting. There might be something to that. I don't know.
12 rooms, 12 vacancies.
I jerked off in all of them.
The problem is that it's like, what is his mother 10,000 years old?
Yes.
Well, it'll be a 1960 Ernest Borgnine.
It's not too bad.
What was she, 5,000 years old?
Yeah, it's changed the sheets Monday, even though no one's in there. I don't like rooms getting damp.
He's
don't
right.
you hate damp sheets?
I mean, he's taking care of the place. He seems like a great guy.
He does.
Sometimes I drink so much that I piss the bed in my sleep. Talk about damp sheets.
Well, that was another thing. Apparently, he was also an alcoholic in the book, and I mean, again, like the fact that he's just like a milquetoast, totally like. Again, afraid to say the word bathroom, like is attracted to Marion. And like, I don't think that she's necessarily attracted to him, but she is put at ease by him because he is so unassuming.
She's not
boyish.
She's not threatened by him. Like, if anything, she's like, yeah, this guy's a little bit of a weirdo, but he's harmless. He's less harmless than the rich Texan that I stole this $40,000 from. And the other thing about the casting, like, Chris, to your point, I think it would be interesting to see if it was cast more like book age appropriate or whatever, but what this does, because this was the horror movie that like in Hollywood, it comes out and it's like now the monster in the monster movie is a person. And how fucked up is that? And so like, I feel like with the cat, you want to send that out. That's part of like what you're doing with this movie. Normal man. That's like Hitchcock's thinking in all of this. So if you want to make the monster a human, the best, most effective way to do it is make him like this all-American boy kind of guy. If you get closer to Ernest Borgnine, where it's like, maybe he's kind of disgusting or lecherous or whatever, then you're kind of like, well, I get it, but it's more surprising that it's this like very, very good boy with his very soft-spoken voice and whatever.
And I'm sure, Hitchcock read the book. Oh, of course, the villain is a big fat guy. I'm so sick of that turn. So
Yes.
many people think I'm a huge creep just because I'm waiting for the baconator to be invented.
I must speak to my satanic majesty. Domino's is making tater tot pizzas.
Oh my
I must
God.
have one now.
Oh,
But yeah, so he takes her to cabin 1 and he's showing around. Then this is where he's like, and the like
Yeah.
he just cannot say bathroom. It gives him like a little tingle in his weenie if he
Mhm.
says bathroom in front of a pretty lady, I guess. So he just sort of hilariously gestures toward the door. And
But
this is like, yeah,
he's kind of an operator here because he's like, you're not gonna. He talks about a diner that's like 4 miles up the road, but he's like, you're not gonna drive in this. Why don't I come back? We'll eat. He says, you come up to the house and we'll have dinner
yes.
together.
yeah.
Yes.
And right here, dude, this is, oh man, food in the middle of the 20th century, just awful. He's like, yeah, I was just about to make some dinner. Nothing special, just some sandwiches and milk. I was like, well, no, you're having fucking lunch for dinner. What are you doing?
no,
Enough.
lunch is supposed to be sex and dinner is supposed to be sandwiches and milk, I guess. My God. But yes, it is disgusting. Just constantly just chugging milk, everyone. Always.
Morning, noon, and night. We're just drinking milk with things, unless it's alcohol.
Yeah.
And then you have got a problem, apparently.
Well, what I love about this is he goes up there and like Marion goes into her room, starts getting things together, starts putting the money in the paper thing. But from her window, she can hear like, does Norma Bates have a PA system outside of her house? Is she holding a microphone
Yes.
at all times? Because she can very clearly hear their conversation about her coming to dinner at the house. And like, what does Norma say? Like, do you have the guts, boy?
Uh-huh. Oh,
Well,
and after dinner, what then? Music and whispers and music.
Well, 'cause he's like, mother, she's a stranger. She's like, oh, so apparently men don't find strangers arousing. Is that it, boy?
Oh, your cheap erotic girl with their cheap erotic minds.
It's just another. It's an old voice actress. You know what I mean? With this great old lady voice. And I mean, like, my question is, and I don't care really to the answer, but I will say, is this cheating? Because this is kind of a cheat, right? Like, this is not.
I guess
It's not
'cause-
Anthony Perkins doing this voice.
Well, but you can't have him do that because then
'cause
it fucking gives it away.
It
Exactly,
keeps,
no, but-
it keeps the twist alive for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this was the actress Virginia Gregg, who she wound up doing the voice again in Psycho 2 and Psycho 3. But speaking of Twilight Zone, Steve, she's in the episode Masks. She's
Oh,
one
nice.
of the shitty
Love
family
it.
members in the Masks episode that was indeed directed by Ida Lupino, one of the co-stars of last week's episode, The Devil's Reign.
Oh,
Look at
great.
that.
Yeah, so how
Yeah.
about that?
Fantastic.
But it's I do like it because it actually, like, again, like, up till the end, Hitchcock wants you to believe that there is an old lady in that house.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Whether she's a ghost, whether she's alive, whether she's whatever, there is some old lady in that house that is not Norman Bates. He really wants to drive you to that.
I mean, if they didn't like that, it sucks now thinking that because I know what the ending is, but
Sure.
like if Norman is coming back down to tell Marion about dinner, and you just hear over the PA, "Tell that slut I won't eat with her. Just you tell her, Norman, I won't have it."
I heard about this new thing. It's called hepatitis C, and I'm not catching it, Norman.
I can smell the used rubbers from here.
Oh, sure, Norman. Bring your trash erotic girl up here. Then the house will be filled with crabs.
I saw
That's what
that.
you'd like, wouldn't it, you pervert?
I saw that pointy bra. Your eyes are going to be out of your head, Norman.
Those bazoomgas. I saw them.
Oh, yes, I caught sight of those rockin' Titans from up here. You naughty boy.
And the ass is nothing to write home. Well, actually, it is, but still.
Oh, on further inspection, that ass won't quit.
Okay, so she has a dump truck. Okay, I admit it.
You could write home about it on the Bates Motel stationery and make all your friends jealous of that juicy ass.
You want to eat her ass, don't you, Norman?
No, Marion, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my son, who is going to tell you that I won't eat with a slut.
Gonna wash down that ass with a big old honking glass of milk.
Oh, good God.
So he
but-
brings this delicious dinner back down to the hotel.
And he's like, haha, that was awkward. You probably heard that. And why don't we eat? You know, he even said, like, he's too afraid to eat in her room. Like, she's like, come into my room, we'll eat. And he knows that the bed is there and he just can't do it. So he's like, why don't we come into my creepy bird parlor really quickly?
Well, I can,
yes.
never eat with a boner.
Let me tell you a little bit about stuffing birds.
And never did it himself. Well, other than these ones in here. But holy crow. I mean, now this is good, right? This is like building towards that ending of like, dude, he preserves his mother as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because he says right here, it's like, oh, I only stuff birds. I don't like stuffing beasts or whatever. And I feel like it's
Beasts.
because he preserved his mother as well as possible, and it didn't go according to plan. And he was like, well, that's the last beast I'll try to stuff.
Yeah, it's birds from here on out. These are good looking birds. You got some owls in there. You know, they're all great work. This scene's great because it plays out, you know, again, he's being really sweet and nice and, you know, aw shucksy. She's put off by the taxidermy, but like, again, she's at ease. But he does have like all these incel red flags that are fantastic, which is like one which like totally turns her off immediately because she's like, oh, you know, like, what, do you ever go out with friends? He's like, you know, boy's best friend is his mother. And he looks at her with both like erotic charge, but also a little disdain. And it's just like, I bet you've never had an empty moment in all of your life. Like, it's this weird, like, you're a pretty girl and whatever you want, you get. Don't. It's a weird vibe that he brings.
Right.
It is.
Vibe, yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, it's all because there's also the wondering in his brain, like, does she understand how weird it is that I said that about a mother and her boy, and like the other, what's the lover line, like a boy, a son is a poor excuse for a lover or something.
Poor substitute
for a lover. Yeah. That is like, you would be inching your way out of the room if you heard that line sincerely shared. Like, just, I know it's kind of supposed to be a joke, but still, the fact that you know it, like, I don't know.
He's laid some exposition that like, oh yeah, my mother, there was a man that came around here. He convinced her to build this hotel. My father died when I was very young. And that guy died about 10 years ago. And, you know, that's, but, you know, a son is a poor substitute for a lover. Ha ha, hee hee.
Are you still hungry?
I would never want to fuck my mother. I mean, that would be so disgusting. And I mean, fuck her back when she was in her 30s for sure. That was hot. What?
Back when she looked like Vera Farmiga. What?
What's a Vera Farmiga?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can I interest you in more cheese and mayonnaise and milk?
Oh, dude, this fucking sandwich. Like, the other thing too is like, he forces her to make her own sandwich. This dude didn't make dinner for anybody.
That's true. Yeah, he brings like a sandwich bar essentially. You know,
well, you know, I can kind of appreciate that. You know, maybe I don't want all like if he puts a ton of cheese on it or something. You know,
maybe
she'll build my own.
There's pastrami on there. She doesn't want it. You know what I mean? She's going just for the cheese.
Oh, he put turkey on my cheese and mayonnaise sandwich. That's disgusting. It's just awful. And like, the whole conversation starts with you eat like a bird, which is great. Because before she makes the sandwich, she does just eat one slice of bread by picking at it. And then it's like, oh, gee, I better make a sandwich.
Well, she's got like a real Midwest charcuterie going here. Like, it's Wonder Bread and like bologna and like Oscar Mayer turkey, not the real stuff.
No.
Government cheese.
The wet shit. The wet shit in the package. You know that slippery turkey they have out there in the grocery stores.
Yep.
Yuck.
It's not Hellman's mayonnaise. It's Hillman's.
I do. I love this conversation where it starts to. He's like, I think who mentions the idea of? I think he does. We're all in our own little traps. You know what I mean? We all find ourselves in our own little traps. I was born in mine, and then she's like, I'm also. She, again, she's like, I'm a person. I have an inner life. Like I too. You might be shocked, but I'm also in a trap. You know what I mean? Like.
Right. Well, it's interesting because like this whole conversation with this already quite fluent murderer, we learn that by the end before he murders Marion, he's already killed at least 4 people. Is where we're at, and this guy
Good for him.
He convinces her like the end of the conversation, she's ready to drive back to Phoenix and give this money.
Right.
Yes.
It's like I talked to this fucking weirdo for 6 minutes. And I decided to turn my life around because I don't want to be in some sort of continuous trap like this guy's living in.
But as you said, Andrew, this is presaged also by imagery, because when she gets the new car from California Charlie, and needs to also gets her bag and coat in a last minute ditch from California Chris, the license plate goes from black to white. Arizona plate
nice.
is Arizona, and their California one are white.
Interesting.
So like
cool.
they do double. He's a master of doing stuff like that, paralleling things.
But he's like talking about the mother and everything, and he gets into like, she's ill, and then because she says something like, I caused you an awful lot of trouble up there, and he's like, no, she's ill, and Marion says, oh well, she seemed pretty strong, and it's kind of interesting because he goes, no, she's ill, like meaning like mental problems, but like we just don't talk about that stuff.
Right.
So she's ill, but she's ill. You know what I mean, Marion? She's ill.
So why don't you
but
just
not
put her
ill.
someplace like what? The madhouse?
Yeah, that's what like really sets him off. Right? That's what we want to do with ill people. We just want to put them away, and nobody's ever going to see him again.
Do you have ever been in one of those places? All the people looking at you. Like again, he's presaging that
Right.
he definitely
The laughing and the tears and the cruel eyes studying you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not that I've ever, or so I would imagine.
Yes,
Sorry.
Yeah. And it brings us to like that rage or whatever. As the rage wave crests, we get the line, that was mentioned again in the Scream, and we played in the Spooktacular soundtrack. But she says, he says in reference to the mother, she's not a maniac. She just goes a little mad sometimes. ... We all go a little mad sometimes. Fucking great. And this is the line that I think like unlocks Marion. She's like, yeah, you're right, Norman. We all do. I just happen to go a little mad taking this money, and now I got to leave this shit ass dinner, get some sleep, and go drive back to Phoenix in the morning.
And I just know they're not going to send me to jail. They're not going to send me to jail. I give it back, and then I don't go to jail. Please,
I got lost trying to find the bank.
Wait, did you mean the bank in Fairvale, California, or did you mean the bank up the street? Because I wanted to go to the one. Okay. No. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Oh, the local branch. Okay. I was going to HQ. I was
taking it right to the top.
The one in Fairview, it's got the better lollipops at the register.
Mm-hmm.
They have the dum-dums there. I love those.
And a free
hell yeah,
pen
dude.
too.
Now I'm curious in her mind, you know what I mean? She's now gone back to she's gonna give the money back. She's gonna face the music. Is she gonna go back to California Charlie and get that old car back, try to make it whole again?
Yeah, get that $700.
Get those 7
back.
bills back.
No, I don't think so, because I feel like that's what she's doing at the desk, like 40,000 minus $700 or whatever. This is what's left.
Yeah.
And this is what this is also like what I put down for the hotel room. She's like adding up all the shit. Like, this is what I'm going to have to make up and give back to this Cassidy guy. The idea.
I'll make up those $700 at the Cassidy Cat House.
You'll make it up to me, girl. Oh, yeehaw! You will make it up to me.
Gonna put that ass to work.
That soft flesh, was it? He said.
Soft flesh. He does say it. By the way,
Oh my God.
$700. That's about $7,300 that she's got to come up with.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Today's, not lying around, that's for sure. And don't ask that fucking shitheel Sam about it. Like, I'll give you a fucking sob story about his ex-wife.
Yeah, well,
What an
it's certainly not
asshole.
in the back of that hardware store. You're not going to find $700 back there, I'll tell you what.
I can give you 7 rakes.
So, but she goes to the other room. And she,
Peep show time.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's got the picture and it just so like the peeping is so visually interesting. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's so much more about him as opposed to what he sees. You know?
Yeah.
The camera is like the extreme close up on his eyeball more than it is on her taking it off, getting ready for this bath.
Right.
Mm.
That was a thing that I don't like. I remember thinking like the Van Sant was like whatever, but what I really disagreed with was in that movie.
Yes.
They make the overt confirmation, like Vince Vaughn is just jerking off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's like he's really going for it. And I'm like, come on, like, you know what I mean?
I forget. Is there even an animated like zipper down sound in the
And
background?
there's a cartoon opening that comes out.
His pant fly opens and an animated cat and an animated cow come out and they
Well,
start fighting each
Then
other.
how is this your grand experiment of doing a shot-for-shot remake, Mr. Von Sant, if fucking Vince Vaughn's spitting on his hand? How does that work?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same shot composition, Steve. He just
Exactly.
did something different within it.
Different
And also-
soundscape.
Also, in the second hour, it veers off when him and Norma go to a gala in matching blue and orange tuxedos.
I would watch Psycho and Psychoer. That'd be a great movie.
But
Similar plot with just running off with money. Sorry.
yeah, it's true. She's gonna come back. She's gonna go back to her job and like, nope, right there is better than money. It's an IOU.
And, private investigator Milton Arbogast looking for Miss Samsonite. That's what was written on the suitcase.
So you see him, he kind of, after this little sesh here, he puts the painting back on the wall and he goes up to the house. And this is the first time you see the interior of the house. And it's just like a hallway, like straight shot into the kitchen table. And he sits down there and he's kind of thinking, am I going to go kill this girl? What am I going to do here?
Or am I gonna go upstairs? He should go in the mirror and be like, you're gonna go upstairs, you're gonna jerk off, and that's all you're gonna do.
Do you know what they call a cheese and mayonnaise sandwich in France?
No, I do not.
Garbage.
A garbage with cheese, yeah.
American pig slop is what they call it. I do love apparently, so like it's a very important plot point. She tears up this note of the math that she was doing with the $40,000
Right.
and flushes it. And apparently, this is probably one of the first toilets ever shown on film because of the Hays Code and all that stuff.
Well, they just invented it too.
No, they had toilets, but apparently it was just so. Oh my! You can't show a toilet in a film.
Do you know what people do in there? Have you any idea?
And then cut to Jeff Daniels 33 years later taking a huge diarrhea on that thing.
Man.
Right?
Totally. Like Hitchcock crawled so Jeff Daniels could shit.
I don't know if what your guys' history with seeing that movie was. I watched my father almost have a heart attack laughing when Jeff Daniels is spewing shit out of his ass.
Oh,
in
sure.
that scene. Nearly
I
died.
think the first time I saw Dumb and Dumber, I think I was alone. I think I just ran into it on
really?
VHS and watched it by myself. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
it was
similar.
in theater. It was a riotous in theater.
Oh,
like
I can
people were
imagine.
going fucking crazy.
Wow.
Well, with that diarrhea.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Marion does here right now. She had the cheese sandwich. She's just fucking ripping ass.
Oh my, it's going right through me. That cheese and mayonnaise sandwich.
You were going to have to do the protagonist switch anyway because of the diarrhea, not just the stabbing. One way or
Yes.
another, we had to switch.
I was expecting a diarrhea. It's just all the farts. My God.
So, the shower scene. One of the most famous scenes.
It's great.
Ever.
It's wonderful. Love that still eye, the spiral with the drain.
Sure.
I gotta be honest. I know it's coming. I didn't like jump like holy shit. It's a brand new movie and I didn't know it was coming, but I jumped a little. Like you do, like the quick. You know what I mean? The shower curtain, the noise, the sound design, all of it. It's effective. You know, fucking 50 something, 60 years later.
Really, really is.
I'll tell you, it doesn't make me jump, but when the door opens, because it just opens at such a
It's total
like,
silence.
it's not too quick, but it's not too slow, and there's no creaking sound. I just like my heart sinks.
Yeah.
I know what's coming, and here's this door, and it's like, oh fuck.
I don't know. It's what, almost 50 years away from this fucking movie at this point, or what? I don't even have the count on me right now. But like
63 years old.
63 years old at this. I don't know if I've heard more like effective stab noises. Like the very bluntness of this, and like the feeling like it, because you focus on the activity, like the motion and the sound so like specifically, you actually get the effect. You're feeling it in that moment rather than just like cut, and slash noise, and that's it.
Or even like a Tom Savini, like a great, like, whoa, the knife is really getting in there. Like your mind is doing so much math to know. Like,
oh yeah,
and it's people have said like, oh man, the blood seemed so red when I saw it. You know what I mean? Because it's in black and white, but it's just it's operating at a level subliminally almost.
Right. I believe it's been said that this is Hershey's chocolate syrup for the blood here.
I believe so, yes.
And do you think that that was just Sir Al's private stash doing some shots in the back?
No, you can't borrow some from my ice cream trolley. Go to the store and get your own.
This is the special reserve they only give to knights.
But you're not a knight yet.
I know the future.
Listen, I'm not. And also, when she gets out of the shower, leave me be with the shower for a little bit with all the chocolate sauce on the floor.
Oh yeah, dude.
They don't call me Alfred Mopcock for nothing.
Yes, Daddy's going to need a spray down after he gets into the syrup.
No.
Oh my God, him just covered in liquid chocolate.
Here's a question. I think about this every time I watch this movie. I should say I probably watch this movie at least once a year.
Oh, nice.
It just I've seen it a dozen times or more easy. But one of the things that always strikes me about this, because I'm not this way, and I would guess some people are. Do you guys get in the shower and turn the water on while you're standing right under it?
No. Never.
Right?
Never.
You got to give it a little bit to get to the temperature you want.
You go to a blast of ice cold water? Absolutely not. Right on your balls.
That's what happens here. Janet Leigh turns that shower on right there. She's getting blasted in the tits with it.
I need to adjust that until it's the temperature of fresh milk. Nice hot little pissy temperature.
Ooh, yeah, nice creamy shower you want to take.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. That's the next innovation. Is creamy showers, chunky and garden style vegetable showers, wet Italian wedding soup, minestrone style.
Eric, is this what you told the contractors when they're putting the water heater in your house? I need the cow piss temperature in the shower.
They couldn't figure it out. They're fucking amateurs.
Tons of bitches.
I was always fascinated by the fact that like Mrs. Bates, quote, doesn't stick around to make sure the job was finished.
Yeah.
Like totally just books out of there. And speaking of the sound, Chris, I think the most disturbing sound in the whole thing is after the stabbing is done. The sound that they put in for her body slumping onto the floor like just a sack of meat.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you literally dropped a bag of steaks on the floor. Like you turned a big bag over and steak fell out and hit the floor, or like ground pork or something. And it's interesting because it's like, yeah, when you're dead, that's all you are. It's just a fucking sack.
Well, that's the thing, is if this was Fulci's Psycho, then we would actually get it would be a body that would turn into a bunch of steaks when it fell on the ground.
You see the hamburger helper on the floor.
But I mean, to Eric's point, like think about that audience, fucking opening night, 1960. these people hadn't even seen a fucking toilet yet. They're like, oh my God, that I can't believe you showed a toilet. Like, Martha, we have to leave. There's a toilet on the screen. Like, no, it'll get better. And then this woman gets ripped apart in a way that no one was expecting, and no one was, you know what I mean? I can't even imagine the reaction.
Yeah. Eleanor, do you see that toilet? I've never been so aroused in my life. Let's get home and fuck. I saw a toilet.
Sees a toilet. Well, cinema is dead. You saw it. You saw it.
No, I think this actually happened, Steve. I don't have the information in front of me, but there was some British film critic who resigned
Yes.
because of this movie being so offensive. And I think it was the toilet.
Maybe. That guy, that would have to be the most embarrassing. Like, are you telling people that that's what you did? I saw a toilet in an Alfred Hitchcock movie and I said, goodbye, career. Get out of here.
That's right. It's done.
See, because movies are supposed to be escapism, you see. And I own a toilet. And when I saw a toilet on screen, the illusion was broken, man. The illusion was broken.
John Gilling would never put a toilet in his movies. Terrence Fisher would never put a toilet in his movies until he was allowed to.
I mean, you're right, though, Steve. Like, opening night, you're not even over the shell shock of seeing a toilet get flushed. And this woman is stabbed to death in the shower minutes later.
And there's side boob left and right. There's the body double for, I think, some of those shots. But it is really graphic and revealing for an R-rated movie back then. You know what I mean? Like you are seeing some action there if you're looking, because that's the thing too, right? It's pushing all those buttons. It is supposed to be a little erotic. It is supposed to be a little to be very scary. It is supposed to have a toilet in
it. There is, it's out of focus side boob when the hand is going to grab the shower curtain. And I'm watching that 4K disc. I'm like, say,
yes,
hello, side 1960 side boob. How are you? So she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
About, an hour or so into the motion picture. And what an amazing thing to have happened to you again. Like, as the audience, not only did you saw a toilet, totally go into shock over that. Then a woman is murdered in the shower, the place where you are like, at your most vulnerable, fucking nude behind a curtain. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize not only was this woman brutally murdered, it was what I thought to be the main character of the movie. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What the hell? Where does the movie go from here? Like, what a fucking fascinating problem to have as an audience member, to sit there just being like, you murdered the movie. Like, how does the movie continue?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, this is in theory, this is the toughest part. And I think it's so perfect how he does it. Like, because it is Norman comes down and quote unquote, finds the body. And starts doing cleanup. And what Hitchcock is doing is like letting us spend time with him doing this. And because we don't know the twist yet, like it feels like we're on his side for a bit. Like we are kind of there with him. And I mean, like I would love it if anybody has any skill at the computer or anything editing wise, if someone can get me a version of all these little tasks he does set to "Let's Hear It for the Boy."
I would love that too.
I thought that was really. I had that thought while I was watching it, and it really made me tickle there. The best thing is the car going into the swamp.
I do love that. And you know what? I was thinking about it this watching, like thinking about the film noir trappings of the start, and it's like, oh, I got this money. Let's give the old town the 23 skidoo, and oh wait, a real crime's happening to me. Oh, that's the movie now. Okay,
yep,
that's a real crime is here.
And
not a movie crime. Yeah, exactly.
And to your point, Chris, like we're watching, we hear Norman react. I think in the house, it's,
blood, mother, blood.
Like, what have you done? And you're like, oh no, this poor fucking simpleton street boy man has to clean up for his mother. Like, yeah, he probably should go to the police or whatever. But we could imagine you know what I mean? Like, you're doing so much of that math in your head.
Yeah.
If you don't know the ending, and what happens? So. The 40 grand is just in her suitcase, right? And it's just never seen ever again.
She takes it out and she folds it into the newspaper and puts it on the nightstand. And there's the great shot. We just mentioned him yelling about blood. It goes from her dead up to the suitcase, to it's all one shot, up to the nightstand. There's the money. That's what she was murdered for. and then it goes out the window and you see the house. It's a great shot. Like clouds are passing over it and whatever, and you get all that. What I love about it, and like, yes, if we added a fun song to it, it would be funny. But what's amazing about it is not only is this like, okay, spend time, meet your new protagonist. It's all just silent. He doesn't say anything, and there's no music. It's just Anthony Perkins walking around this room, cleaning everything up very meticulously and proficiently, almost as if it's not the first time he's done it.
No, not at all. And I mean, what I love about the car going into the swamp is this is the implication moment. This is, you watch the car go halfway in, and what is your thought? Oh God, please go in. You want it to go in, and that's implicating you in the crime in its way. And then it goes in, and you're relieved too. You watch him be relieved, and you're feeling that with him in that moment.
Great
and this
point.
is before you know everything else, of course, but like that is such an important anchoring moment for you.
I was a little taken out of it when Swamp Thing shows up. I was like, hey, asshole! Hey, what the fuck? Do I dump my garbage in your house? Do I go into your fucking shitty motel and throw my fucking food on your floor? What are you doing to my goddamn swamp?
Look, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel one of the pieces of fruit that grow on my body. I'm going to peel it off my own body and feed it to you, and it's going to make you have horrible hallucinations because that's a Swamp Thing, and fuck you.
You know what? I'm going to take the bucket seats. I gotta make my I have a living room set I haven't completed yet. I'm gonna get those, but I don't like you having all this shit in my house. I'll tell you that
funny
much.
Because Joseph Stefano, the writer, developed Swamp Thing for television.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh wow,
The 1990 TV show. Yeah.
Here, I was just being an asshole, but now I
You're
actually
smart asshole.
There you go.
Ooh, I watched a lot of that Swamp Thing TV show when I was a kid.
We gotta do that Wes Craven movie. This is Stay Tuned.
Both of them are absolutely one worse than the other. The Craven one sucks, but the one that the
Larry
sequel he
Cohen?
didn't do with Heather Locklear is way worse.
Is it Larry Cohen who did the sequel? I feel.
Ooh, I don't know.
I hope so, because then it would be a banger, then, right?
It was Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock did Swamp Thing too. Yeah.
So the thing about Swamp Thing that I wanted, I thought, what about if he was a fat Swamp Thing? You see.
The idea of Alfred Hitchcock doing a superhero, the what? A bat? No, we will not be doing a Batman.
Chris, were you thinking of Return of Swamp Thing?
Yeah.
It is Jim Wynorski, that
Oh.
softcore pornographer.
I see. Yes.
Shopping mall zone.
Yes,
Damn it.
exactly.
But so yeah, she goes into the bog, and then we cut to Sam's hardware store. And it's a lady arguing about cyanide, or not cyanide, insecticide. And she wants it to be totally painless. It's funny, but it's also like, it's just cheeky enough for the scene you just watched because we're talking about death.
Well,
Right.
of course it is, because she's saying like, oh, it says it kills all these bugs, but it doesn't say if it's painless. And what she says is, I think death should always be painless. And you just watched one of the most painful ways to die unfold in front of you. It is that just that primo morbid humor that Hitchcock had. It's so fucking funny. And what's great is like, it's definitely not a line you catch the first time you see the movie, you know, because like you've watched all that shit go down right up through the Swamp Thing appearance, and you're like still rattled, and it's like, Sam's like writing a letter to her in the back room, and it's just this old lady, and you're like, oh, it's an old lady, she's kvetching about a product, whatever. But then you listen to it and you're like, oh, that's a funny joke. Very good.
Yes.
And Marty Balsam is doing some peeping of his own into the hardware store.
Yeah, I like looking at people.
The Bronx Barrymore, if Wikipedia is to be understood.
Really?
He's a Bronx native. He was a huge theater guy, and some critic called him the Bronx Barrymore,
That's
which
amazing.
I love so much.
Very good.
He's
Wow.
fantastic.
Love him.
Steve, was he buried under Pelham Parkway?
No, I don't believe he died apparently in Italy. I guess he was in Rome, if to be believed.
Nice.
Not bad.
Return to the home country, right?
Exactly.
No, dude, that is I'm over there as an old man still trying to act, making a shitty Italian crime movie.
That might
that's
be-
true.
And I died on set or whatever.
because he worked forever.
Yeah.
He worked all the way up. He was in Silence of the Hams. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
What the fuck?
He's probably making like Luigi cozies for the murder tree or something like that.
Well, according to Wikipedia, his last movie was 1997's Legend of the Spirit Dog, where he played Gramps.
Yeah,
yeah, that checks out.
Also,
of course, the star of Mitchell also.
That's what I'm saying. Very important.
Judge in
seminal
Cape
film.
Fear, 91. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's so good in this movie, and this part of the movie needs him. I think again, because Sam's a bit stiff and like he's just like rock hard chest. What? Well, let's figure this out. And like he's just seedy and crooked enough, and like it gives the movie another. It's kind of a stock character, right? The seedy private investigator.
Exactly. Yes.
Because we're back to Eric's noir.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a guy. It's fascinating, right? Because it's a guy from a noir. This is a character from a noir. He could have been like fucking with Edward G. Robinson in another movie down the road or whatever. And like it's this is what happens, Larry. This is what happens when a noir character walks into a horror movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the thing he's bouncing off is that those two are dealing with what you should care about, which is like this woman has gone missing. You know what's happened. You want them to find out. What's the interesting character? The guy who's talking about the $40,000 that's missing. He's the interesting guy. He's the guy that you actually want to follow for a little bit here, not the fucking stiff guy who's talking about how much he loves his girlfriend, which you should want. But like he keeps on bringing you back to what sin is.
For some reason, this viewing, I was thinking of No Country for Old Men a little bit, because it's like this conventional. Yeah, I just tracked down this $40,000, find where this dame would ditzy, and I'll figure it, But the world has changed. It is darker and more sinister, and there's actual real shit afoot here.
It's funny. I was thinking of another Coen Brothers movie, Fargo, which is like, you think about that money just in the snow. It's very similar to the money in the swamp. You know what I mean? It is just a little bit of money, but although the money is the actual motivation in both those Coen Brothers movies, that the money is nowhere near the motivation in this film.
Right.
True.
I do love when Vera Miles walks in as Lila Crane, the sister, and she's like, "Oh, I'm looking for Sam Loomis," or whatever, and he comes out, and this other guy that's working at the hardware store, this guy Bob, like, and Sam's like, "Hey Bob, why don't you go out and get some lunch?" And he's like, "Oh, I actually brought my lunch today, Sam." And he goes, "Then go outside and eat it. Get the fuck out of here."
That's awesome.
I need some private conversation. And if I'm remembering right, Chris Cabin, check my memory on this. The guy playing this in the Van Zandt movie is none other than Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist Flea.
I'm pretty sure you're correct on that. Yes. And
my goodness.
But like, what if, what? That's really, Sam, that's kind of fucked up of you. Because what if your friend over here was trying to have sex for lunch? He can't just go outside and have that. He'll get arrested.
It's true.
What was he going to have it in the store?
Yeah. Oh, hey, at least it's inside.
I was looking for Sam Loomis. Were you looking for me, Sheriff? There is a terror coming to your town.
There is a man dressing up as his mother, Sheriff. You have to believe me. Bah!
There's a terror coming to your town. Big box hardware store.
Home Depot, Sheriff. It's coming.
Same name, obviously, a tip of the hat to this film.
Oh.
Not the only tip of the hat, obviously, Jamie Lee being in there as well.
Sure.
But yeah.
And also. I was just going to say, and also Billy Loomis and Scream. That's the other.
All the Loomises, Lumi.
Lumi, if you will.
They're everywhere.
Right. But it's kind of great because she comes in and she's like, have you seen Marion? Is Marion here? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I haven't talked to her. What's going on? And then fucking Arbogast comes in. Martin Balsam just fucking sachets in. He's like, I can help with that friend. And it's just, oh man, so the friend thing is so good.
I love when he says something like, I forget what Vera Miles says. Like Lila says something, like answering a question of his, and he goes, I don't know if I believe you. And she basically spits in this dude's face with this great delivery of, well, I don't care if you believe me. Yep. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't give a shit about what you're here for. My sister is missing.
Yeah. Well, I get off on women being angry at me. So if you want to just keep on doing that,
keep yelling, keep yelling.
I'm ready to take it. But yeah, he decides he's going to go take a tour of all motels and hotels
Dude, I love it's the only real montage in the movie.
Yes, this is good.
And I fucking love it's just Martin Balsam walking around town going in all these like flop houses and boarding houses or whatever.
And just
it's
shots of
great.
just people being like, you know what they're saying.
Yeah.
So good.
But yes, he winds up at the Bates Motel. Doesn't take him long to get there, and he's like, "No, almost missed it from the highway." And here comes Normie Bates, just trying to like have because you find out it's kind of fun, like how much of this is like stock nonsense. Like, yeah, 12 cabins, 12 vacancies. Like, oh yeah, the highway came, and like it's just sort of like his normal conversation.
His normal conversation is a performance, you know. He's
Exactly.
just-
yes.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because like he even has a spiel prepared when no one's really driving by there. It's still just like ingrained in his head from when business was busier. Like he doesn't miss a beat. Like it's kind of flawless. Also, Martin Balsam, terrible private detective, dude, because you know you've got the titular psycho on your hands when you pull up because he's just sitting outside the motel with his feet up eating out of a bag of candy corn. folks.
Well, that makes him a pervert, and that should be addressed. But I what I like about that is he starts eating like there's a casualness or like a feigned casualness to him eating the candy corn. And as I go in, and as Martin Balsam really starts, as Arbogast starts pressing him about these things, he goes from that. I think it's when he brings out the ledger and the sign-in book, and he finds the lead. He goes from that to chewing very vigorously. I think it's a piece of gum. I don't know for sure what he puts in there, but it's very pointed that like that's a nervous, like that just to show the nervousness rather than like him like his eyes darting back and forth or some shit.
Because
Like
he's
that.
also getting caught in lies here a little bit, and he's covering them up. Like, oh, you know I never seen her. Oh, but then Arbogast has like a handwriting sample, and it's like, damn it, God damn it.
He fucks up that because he's like, oh, I got the handwriting sample. He also fucks up like he says, oh, no one's been here through here in weeks. And then Arbogast says something, and he's like, oh, yeah, a couple last week also said they almost missed it. And he's like, see, that's what I'm talking about. You mix up things, you forget things, yada, yada. I think, though, Chris, it still is the candy corn, and he is just chewing it more nervously and more, like, animatedly because, like, inside he's shitting his pants.
It's something's flat and white. It's something he puts in specifically. I don't know what it is.
Dude, I think you're just looking at 1960 candy corn, dude.
Is that just
like all food back then? It was garbage. It just looked like shit and was garbage.
And Ball, basically, he's like, oh yeah, actually, no, what I meant was I have had a woman come in here, and she was actually Marion Crane. I know.
Did you spend the night with her? Did you spend the night with her? Well, it is that it's that like circular fucking cop, circular lawyer, circular Captain Kirk talk. Where he's like, he goes like, because his first question is like, did she make any phone calls? And he's just very definitively like, no. And then he says, did you spend the night with her? And he's like, no. And then it's like, well, then how do you know she didn't make any phone calls? And I just want to be like, well, if you were putting it that way, what the fuck did you ask me for? I'm not a fucking psychic. I don't have phone records out here, asshole.
No, but he's getting tripped up, getting nervous. But he also is like a little defiant too. You know what I mean? Like Norman has the ability to protect himself. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, at first he offers, you want to check all the cabins? I'm going to change the linens right now. You might as well come with me and enjoy it, kind of a thing. And then once the conversation goes on to the mother, because like he's like he lets it slip that his mother is around, and he's like, well, I'd like to talk to. You can't talk to her. She's an invalid. You know what I mean? Like
Arbogast sees her from the
That's
window.
right.
He sees the silhouette again. He's like, is that Michael Jordan up there? Or is that your mother? Which one is it? Yeah, and then he's like, oh, I thought you said you were alone. He's like, oh, that must be my mother. She's an invalid. And he's Arbogast pushing to like, I want to talk to her. No. I told you she's sick. I think I'm ready for you to go away now or whatever.
Yes.
And so Arbogast does leave, and he goes to a payphone, and he calls Lila, and he's like, hey, so your sister definitely stopped at this motel. Something's fishy here. I want to keep looking around. But very pointedly, he's like, but I can confirm, I'm relatively certain that Sam had no idea that your sister came up here, because that's still part of it
Yeah.
When he's at the hardware store, is like, you didn't know your girlfriend was on her way, you know, all that shit. So Sam now has kind of been cleared of any suspicion at this point, is what he's saying.
And he's like, I'm gonna go talk to something about this old lady, this mother. I gotta talk to her. I'll get back to you in about 2 hours or something like that. Yeah.
So he goes back to the hotel and he goes into the office. And again, I'm sorry, but you go into an office like this, you're looking for a missing girl. You see all these dead stuffed birds. There's your guy. There's your guy.
Yeah. Caught him red-handed.
Arbogast just has to take one look around here and be like, yep, found him. Hello, Sheriff. The bird guy did it.
Did you stuff any more birds? Show me.
And now here's where I take umbrage with your methodology here, your police work, Arbogast. You can't just walk into this house.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets punished for it pretty.
Oh, he certainly does.
It's a great punishment. I love this sequence. But yeah,
just walking right in, not even a knock, just walking right in and closing the door quietly behind him. He knows what he's doing.
I think there's some people that will tell you like, well, if the door's unlocked, they're allowed or something.
Yeah,
which I don't.
Well, that person would be a fucking idiot.
It's local rules, don't you know? Yeah.
You probably want to
local rules is even worse. Local rules, you don't fucking go into people's houses. What are you kidding me? On the side of a road like that?
Well, I think a lot of small towns are more like that. They're like, oh yeah, of course.
You probably want to announce yourself like, "Hi, private detective, Mrs. Bates." You know,
exactly. But he's snooping, dude. He's a private snoop, and he's snooping around. And I love the way this whole shot is constructed.
Yes.
Just like right above, looking dead straight down at the floor from the top landing. And this is like, it's almost like a precursor. I wonder if it maybe even inspired it, the jump scare in Exorcist 3, because this is a very similar, a fucking berobed woman comes out of nowhere and fucking stabs this dude, just cuts him right in the face.
And just the shot of just his face, like him kind of slowly falling down these stairs in a way. It's fantastic.
It's the speed at which she comes out the door.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yes.
It's like very forceful in a way that you weren't expecting. Because like, again, you still don't know. I mean, like, unless you're us and who would say, but like when you're that first couple people who saw this thing, you don't know. You're just like, there's something off about her moving like that, being an old woman like that, and her moving that quickly against. But I don't know. It must have been great. I'm going back to what Eric said. Like, it would have been great to have felt that and not known immediately because of animated shows.
Imagine if the twist was like, yes, and then we see her skeleton had come to life.
It's in play though, man. It's totally in play in 1960.
But I think you're too. If you're in 1960, you're in the theater, and this hasn't been ruined for you by osmosis, I feel like you're still rattled by that toilet.
Sure.
2, you're still rattled by
world.
that shower scene. Less than the toilet, but still pretty rattled. Like, so you saw a toilet, then a woman was murdered, thrown in the swamp, all that shit. That like you're just terrified once again. Like, your heart has just stopped racing. This happens right here. I don't think your brain has time to be like, well, that's moving way too fast for an invalid old woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But you're right. When you look back at it, it is eerie thinking like that's supposed to be an old woman moving like that.
It's just something off about it. And like, that's the first thing that hits you. And I wish that we had, like, remember, you've seen all that footage of like people interviewing people outside of Star Wars or like horror movies and be like, oh my God. Yeah, you had, imagine like Psycho, you hear about everybody being like, went crazy for the murder and everything, but they actually got footage and just everybody was talking about the toilets. Nobody could stop talking about it. Like, it happens twice. They go into the toilet.
The master of horror.
First you see a toilet, then the toilet gets flushed, and then a few scenes later, a woman digs through the toilet.
She's touching a toilet.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of films. I come to the films quite often, and I ain't never seen a toilet in a film. I never seen it. Nor did I ever see a piece of paper being taken from a toilet.
Come to think of it, I haven't seen a toilet in real life either. Just been using the outhouse back there.
Gonna go home, take a picture of my toilet. Look at me, I'm Alfred Hitchcock.
No, yeah, I work construction over in Burbank, and I was invited to this special screening of Psycho, and I'm very happy to watch Mr. Alfie Hitchcock in this picture.
Yeah.
Well, I, for one, didn't have a problem with the toilet being featured in the picture because, as a plumber by trade, I felt honored to have some of my work portrayed on screen for once.
But then I stayed for the entire end credits, and I didn't see the plumber wasn't credited. Whoever installed that was a top-notch job. The velocity of the twirl of the toilet. You don't credit these people?
And they got it all wrong, by the way. A piece of paper in the toilet, it would have disintegrated in that time. I know from experience. I've been plumbing for 10 years.
We are told that Marion has been missing for a week at this point when the movie catches up after the murder. So I feel like you're probably not reading the pencil off of the paper.
No.
That's
not happening.
That's a fair complaint.
Oh, you're taking Hitchcock to task on We Hate Movies plot hole.
Guitar solo.
But now we're cut back to Sam and Lila. Lila is very concerned that Arbogast was supposed to talk to her, and she didn't. And he didn't. Blah blah blah. Finally, time to go to the police to find out. My God, this sheriff, the way he says this fella named Arbogast.
Yes.
It's like somehow anti-Semitic, and I don't know how, like it's just somehow he did it. It's like, wow, how did you do that?
It's also like a brand of gas medicine.
Yeah.
Like you should take Arbogast for when you're dry shitting out your drawers.
There's a great moment right when they decide to go see the sheriff. You don't see them here, but it's this great moment of Norman back at the swamp because guess where fucking Arbogast wound up?
Yeah.
And you hear them yelling. You hear they're at the motel yelling, Arbogast, Arbogast. And it's this amazing shot of Perkins turning around, like turning to face the direction of the voice. And the look, again, just the look says it all. Like, it's happening again. More people are coming. Mother's going to have to kill. It's all just like you see these gears turning with that stare of like, oh, fuck, more outsiders.
Another car? This is my kitchen, man. Trying to watch a fucking television here.
Sorry, Swamp Thing. Just one more car. Can I fit it?
God, fucking fine.
The serial killer keeps ruining the game I'm watching.
You're getting cable, though, and I'm getting some of it. I'm fucking tired of this shit.
So they go call Deputy Sheriff Al Chambers in the middle of the night. Some fella Arbogast. You're right, Steve. It does sound anti-Semitic, and I can't even...
big city private investigator by the name of Arbogast. Like, I don't know.
I do love Sam like lays out the whole story for them, and it's a sheriff and his wife who are listening to it, and she's great. She's being like overly friendly the whole time, which is funny. But he goes, we saw someone else at the house with Norman, and the wife was like, oh no, Norman took a wife, and he goes, no, an older woman, his mother, and they don't let it slip yet, but the sheriff and the wife look at each other, and it's this great like, what the fuck did he just fucking say his mother? What the fuck?
He fucking did, didn't she?
The sheriff calls Norman, which she absolutely should not do. You should go and investigate. Like he's like, say, Norman, did you kill a little private investigator and a woman? No?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Fair enough.
But he said no. That's all I can do. All right?
It is kind of great because you can imagine Norman doing rehearsed friendliness to him too. Because he's like, Norman, it's, sheriff, whatever. And then before he can say anything, oh yeah, I'm fine. You can imagine
exactly.
whatever those fake pleasantries are that he's dealing out or whatever. But he's like, yeah, well, Norman said he didn't, he left or whatever. So that's all I can do. And then, so this is great drop right here. Another bit of like, what is going on? If you don't know the movie, he's like, well, I think the problem really is with that private investigator of yours. What's his name again? Arbogast. Because he's like, I think the dude's like got his facts wrong. Because Norman Bates' mother has been in fucking Green Lawn Cemetery for the last 10 years.
Yes.
Well, so you think. I mean, she's out. She done broke out.
She's either, maybe, because there's even a line at some point like, if she's not in the cemetery, whose grave is that? Or what? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we're playing with maybe she wasn't dead at all. Maybe she's a ghost. Again, like, all of this is in play, along with it's probably actually Norman Bates himself. But it's all in play.
Yeah, well, and the sheriff also like adds on to the mystery because he's like, oh yeah, I haven't been out to the Bates Motel since all that business 10 years ago. What business 10 years ago, you might ask? Oh yeah, the murder-suicide. Mrs. Bates murdered her boyfriend and then killed herself. And then the wife is like, they found them in bed together. Ooh, gossipy about a 10-year-old murder. Ooh.
Some last-minute cuddles before entering the afterlife. Very romantic.
Then we go back to the motel, and this is Norman now going upstairs. And this is another amazing shot because it's following Tony Perkins up the stairs, and he goes into the bedroom. We don't yet have access to the bedroom, and the camera, almost as if like the camera was like, oh, not allowed in here yet. Better turn around. It starts doing this like crane tilt move and gets itself back into the same directly looking down position as when Arbogast was murdered. And he's having a fight with her or whatever. No, I'm not going to go down to the fruit cellar in my own home. And like that whole argument or whatever. And then
I'll tell you who's a little fruity. It's you, which is a very
that's right.
loaded line there from Mom.
Absolutely.
Oh, mothers, they're so cutting.
And then he is seen carrying a body out, and she's talking the whole time. Put me down. I can walk. Just walking down. And again, you're like, all right, well, I didn't get like a face check, and I didn't see her moving, but Norman says that she's an invalid, so maybe
she
can't really move. And,
once she's fully in frame, he's walking her down the stairs. We do get another of those fade to blacks that kind of helps cover that up.
Yep, exactly. Like, all right, that's all you get now. We're going to turn the lights out on that scene. You're not going to see the rest of it.
And how do you know that the fruit cellar isn't very comfortable and very nice? You don't know. It might be luxurious.
But I guess because she's been hidden there before, this body.
Yes. Yeah.
Mother, it's a finished fruit cellar. There's carpet down there, and the walls are insulated, and there's a television.
Yeah, the ping pong table.
And have all the preserves you want.
But we cut to church on Sunday. The sheriff and his wife are coming out, and Sam and Lila are waiting for him. Like, did you see the Bates? What happened? They're like, oh yeah, I went there. There's nice as pie. Like, mother's still dead. You know what I mean? Like, and he just never. And it's kind of great because he's like, what you want to do is you want to come to my office and report your sister missing officially. You need to get the police involved here, son. It's all these, big shitty types just fishing around that money.
Just like Arbogast. The last place you would find him is here in the church, I'll tell you that much.
So Lila's like, okay, like they walk away. The wife is hilarious. She's like, why don't you come by the house for Sunday dinner and fill out your nice paperwork then? Okay. And like they walk away, and Lila's like, Sam, fuck the police. I want to go up there myself. We're not waiting on this dude and his paperwork. Let's go see what's going on. And so these sort of like the final push of the movie here is we're going to go ourselves. We're going to check it out. We're going to pretend that we're a freshly fucked married couple on the road, whatever.
We are freshly fucked, just so you know. Yeah.
Yes.
Another twist, diversion from the book was apparently Lila and Sam get together in the book. Like, they fall in love, which is like so good that that's not this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
that's creepy even for me.
Sounds pulled out of the Biden family tree, that one.
Well, I mean, that's good. That's good. I mean, that happens a few times. Like, if anybody's read Jaws, Richard Dreyfuss bangs the sheriff's wife in the book.
Oh, yes. I recall hearing that. I've never read the book.
And I'm very happy they take it out in that case, too. I think that's not a good look.
I'm cucking your wife.
Hey, Lurene, Gary, let's fuck.
Yeah, let's find out what's inside this shark. You don't know what was inside your wife last.
Oh yes. Got a license plate inside her too.
Left some tadpoles behind.
But so this is where like Sam Loomis, dude, just fucks this whole thing up.
Oh my God,
Like,
this
he's
guy,
being an
brick of
asshole.
wood.
he's being an asshole to Norman like immediately.
Yes.
Like he's like, I asked for a receipt. My boss wants receipts. He's paying for this fucking trip. You give me a goddamn receipt. You let me fill the fuck in on the logbook. Oh, what's that? Oh, how convenient. You know, normally when you check in without bags, it's a $10 deposit. What the fuck's your problem?
Why don't you
Like,
take my money, you son of a bitch?
he's just being so aggressive to him. And I'm like, dude, you're trying to dupe this guy into like a level of comfort where you can then snoop around this motel.
Fucked
Don't
it
be
up.
an asshole.
Yeah.
Fucked it up. But they do check in, and like the idea is, okay, Sam, you're the stupidest man in the universe. Why don't you distract Norman while I snoop around the house? I would totally flip that around. But I guess like Norman is the one you're kind of worried about anyway. Like you wouldn't leave him alone with a woman, but
Sure.
Well, I mean, imagine if you were actually running a motel at the time. Your worst nightmare, maybe this is just my point of view here. Worst case scenario, the person who is renting a room wants to chat for a while. Like,
Yep.
and it turns into wants to have a debate with you about like what you do there. Like, I would just be like, get me right the fuck. I don't care if I'm crazy and like kind of have preserved my mother. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here right now.
Mhm.
The reverse of that is why I refuse to stay at B&Bs.
Yep.
I don't need to be talking to caretakers
No,
and
thank
having
you.
them make me breakfast and sit at their table with a
Yeah.
bunch of other strangers. Thanks, but no thanks.
It's,
Keep it to
for
yourself.
it's weird. It's weird.
Just
I
let me
wanted
go
to-
get a fucking Egg McMuffin on the side of the road like everybody else.
I wanted an anonymous hotel that I could shit, come, and sleep in.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to
Okay.
look I don't want to look anyone in the face afterwards either.
Or during.
That's actually on all the advertisements for La Quinta. Actually,
Shit, come and sleep at La Quinta Inns and Suites.
I'm gonna have to go there.
Another bad move on these fucking amateur detectives, such as they are here. They're not exactly super sleuths because, like, you're saying, first of all, like he says in the car, like, we're gonna search the motel, like every inch of it or whatever. Wait until dark. Why are
Yeah.
you doing this shit in the afternoon?
Well, because dark is scarier. This is
Yeah.
a scary movie we're in.
you got a point there.
When she starts poking around there, I think she comes across like a children's room that I guess he might be still sleeping in, which is
That's
Yes.
dude. That's one of the
Nice.
creepiest parts.
Nice.
It's Norman's bedroom with a mix of dirty magazines and children's literature and toys all over it.
Mhm. And like a
It
rumpled
says everything about that
blanket.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one where she goes into the room with all the dresses. It reminded the way the whole thing was shot was just reminded me almost exactly. And I should revisit it now, but it reminded me of when Clarice Starling is looking at Frederica Bimmel's emptied out.
Yeah.
It looks very similarly shot, I think, in a way of covering like the way she goes into the closet with all the dresses and pulls it apart that way.
Yeah, that's when she goes from the bedroom into Mrs. Bates's room
Yes.
as she's investigating, and goes through, and she's got all these like nice dresses and furs and whatever. It's gotta be Mothball City.
Oh my god.
If this woman's been dead for 10 years, you're not only trying to preserve her, you're trying to preserve these clothes.
There's also a huge indentation on the bed that lets you know that someone's been sleeping in this bed pretty
Mhm.
recently.
You better not be in my corpse groove.
Yes.
Also, I love the like Lila looks to the dresser like a vanity or something, and it's this eerie like the statue of the hands folded over, and they do like a close up on it. It freaks me out every time, and like I don't know because it's not supposed to be like a mask of her
Yeah.
hands or something, is it?
Maybe a death mask kind of a thing,
Yeah.
possibly.
It's like here's my mother's dead hands or whatever.
possibly. People were
Sure.
fucking weird back then, dude.
Yeah.
I do. Sam is meanwhile being like, "You took the money, didn't you, Bates? Didn't you, Bates?" And it's like, "What are you
Yeah.
talking? You gave it all away, you idiot."
He like comes in like ready to spit on the floor at this
Yes.
guy. And really not doing a good job of buttering up and distracting him. It's a lot of like, oh yeah, total nothing business here. I'm sure $40,000 would have helped with that. 40,000 what? You know what the fuck I'm talking about, moron.
$40,000. Now let's talk about your mother. Let's put all attention on your mother and what's happening to her right now. What's your mother doing right now, huh, Norman? Oh wait, no.
No one's in the house.
Nobody. Stay here. How about that?
And he just knocks like a total stiff, gets knocked out here like a fucking moron.
Oh yeah, because Norman sort of realizes something's fishy here, and he goes, "Wait a second, where's that girl you came in here with?"
Yeah.
And like they start like getting into it or whatever, and Norman Bates just fucking knocks this guy right over the head right away. And not for nothing, Sam Loomis, the only thing you're good for is being tall and built like a brick shithouse, and this waifish little wiener gets the best of you. Embarrassing.
Well, this guy's got like 6 kills under his belt though, so he's
that's
ready to
true.
tangle.
True, yeah. He's leveled up at this point.
All those muscles don't like protect your brain from being soft or the skull from being soft
Yes.
or anything like that. That
That's
can
true.
be cracked right open.
So Norman storms into the house. Lila is aware of that. She like is trying to run out the door, but she sees Norman coming, so she goes downstairs and she's like, "Say, that's an interesting door to look into." And this is the fruit cellar.
Mrs. Bates. God damn, it's so great.
It's a great, like, she just taps the shoulder and the
Yes.
thing spins around like, "Hello." And I
Yes.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
I'm a fucking skeleton. Your mother is now with us, Norman. She's part of the Skeleton League.
She will be the queen of us all, Norman. What do you think about that?
We will take off that Willie Nelson wig and we will have her have a beautiful dome of bone.
Yes.
Bone Dome.
It's come to our attention that you have put some skeletons into the swamp. We must release them.
Release our brothers from their unfortunate
A
tubes.
skeleton cannot be trapped in a car unless it was in a car accident.
We wish to speak with Swamp Thing. Dear Swamp Thing, could you bring us the meaty bodies that are in your home?
You must arrange a parlay with Swamp Thing for us, the Skeleton League.
Yes, I would like we need a private investigator skeleton and another. We could always use another sexy lady skeleton as well.
Yes, it is truly my honor to take an audience with the Skeleton League, me, Swamp Thing.
We will tell people of your kindness, Swamp Thing.
Now release the skeletons and there won't be no trouble.
Let it be known that the swamp will always be friendly to the skeletons of this earth.
That is right. We will leave your mushrooms alone if you leave our skeletons alone. That is the deal.
And as for you, Bates, no longer will our queen be held captive in your fruit cellar, you son of a bitch.
And dear Swamp Thing, if there is a skeleton under all of that stuff, we would be happy to have him with us.
When the day comes I burn up in a swamp/forest fire, it would be my honor to join the Skeleton League.
We don't have roots in the Skeleton League. You must have. Do you have a skeleton? What is going on under there?
Can I get in there? Can I get in there?
Can I take a peek? Can I move this mushroom?
Yes, I'm totally one of you. My mother was a skeleton.
Huzzah,
that is
a
actually-
legacy.
That is how it works. Your mother must be a skeleton for you to be a skeleton.
It doesn't matter what the father, it always transfers through the mother.
Yes, it's through the mother.
Your name shall be Flounder.
Flounder? Why?
Why not?
What movie were we talking about?
Animal
Thing?
House.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay.
we're talking about Animal House, but there's a bunch of skeletons that are there in Swamp Thing as well.
Here's a new one. He's a new one.
Animal House. Boone and Swampy playing cat and mouse.
Oh, your nickname
Animal
is
Swamp.
D-Day. That's very funny. There was a lot of skeletons made on that day.
Skeleton house. Dot, dot, da, 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 dot, dot.
Oh no, the horse has died in Dean Bitterman's office. We must quickly make it a skeletal horse.
A pledge pin on your tibia.
Do you mind if we dance with your dates? Of course we don't mind.
Oh, Niedermeyer would later go on to die in Vietnam, where they made a lot of skeletons.
Oh, plenty of those. Agent Orange could make a skeleton in 30 seconds flat.
Our enrollments doubled after Vietnam. Just waved.
Enrollments to the Skeleton League. I like that.
Oh man. Yeah, so Mrs. Bates has been dead forever. And so Yeah, Sam comes in at the last second and grabs Norman here as he's running in Mrs. Bates'
Yes.
dress. And as the psychiatrist is quick to criticize in the closing parlor monologue here, a real cheap wig. I love that this dude is like, and after all the mental illness and everything else going on, he bought a shitty wig.
That's how we know he didn't touch that $40,000. It's a crime of
exactly.
That cheap wig was a crime of passion, not profit.
This guy's great though, man.
I do
Norman
like it.
Bates no longer exists, which is so awesome. And he just sort of goes into the whole, like, it's a real, like, listen, we have to explain this movie to people at this point. Like, it's been no dialogue and just looking at a bunch of things, but this is what's wrong with this guy.
Yeah. And like these scenes, I hate these scenes usually because you don't have a good actor doing them, A.
Yes.
But B, you're not shooting them like so soberly as he is. Like, it's not, you know, he just wants to get the information and he's giving the guy the actor room to play with the room. Like he's walking around a little bit. He's having fun with it. Like you have to allow that for me to take on all this information that you're pile driving me with.
Yes. And apparently Hitchcock wasn't super crazy about the pile driving himself, but the studio kind of insisted on it. But yeah, I do agree. Like, it is sort of funny. Like, even this thing that he wasn't super jazzed on. Actually, I think it helps the movie a little bit. I think, you know, it'd be fine if it just ends with the monologue from Norman Bates, like, you know what I mean, the mother. You'd get it, you know, in a more modern movie. But yes, these people haven't seen a fucking toilet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, let's take them by the hand a
They
little.
can't comprehend toilet on screen. They're not going to get split personalities. So you do have to handhold a little at the end. And I think it's fine. And I think there's some effective stuff here, especially when we get like the skeleton face superimposed over. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I do love the so the guy is like, yes, it all started back when Norman killed his mother and murdered the boyfriend there. And then he's like, oh, and I believe, at least according to the mother, he's struck 2 more times. You don't happen to have any missing persons on file in this town, do you? And the guy's like, the cop's like, yeah, 2. And the dude is like, were they young girls? And this cop is just like, son of a bitch. Yes, they were. God damn it.
I went by that Bates Motel 3 times. Shit.
I was trying to blame it on an Elvis concert.
We would be happy to adopt the 2 women who are down there too, Swamp Thing. We would love to take them in.
Well, listen, I'll take them all off your hands and I'll give you 30 mushrooms. How does that sound?
And $700. That's a fair trade-in. But yeah, you know, he's like, the fucking doctor is like, I got a feeling if you drag that swamp out behind the motel, you're gonna have an awful lot to sift through.
And we also very specifically one of the things we want to underline, because one guy, I think Sam, who's a little bit like, so why was he wearing a dress? And the other guy's like, I'll feel that. I'm an asshole. He's a transvestite. It's like, well, no, that's not exactly true, because he believed he was the mother, and you know he wasn't doing it for his own sexual pleasure for himself or just whatever his own identity. It was like his split personality was a woman, therefore she would dress as a woman. So like I think that's sort of interesting for Hitchcock to sort of very specifically underline there.
Yeah, no, I think that's important.
Yeah. And then we cut to Ted Knight of all people. Did anyone catch this?
Absolutely, dude. I've loved looking at Ted Knight in this tiny little role for several years.
Norman is like, can I get a blanket? No, let me get 2 blankets. You'll get nothing and like it. I believe so.
Well, we're waiting for the blankets.
You know, the world needs motel owners too. So
buy the Bates Motel.
But no, yeah, Ted Knight is just this. There's, I think one of the other guards like, oh, he said he was cold. He wants a blanket. Can we get him one? I was like, sure. And then this is when we lean in on the great Anthony Perkins, just facing it up here, man. One of the best faces to ever face.
Really good face. Good face time here. And then also the mother inner monologue of like, I'm not even gonna swat that fly.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's sad when a mother has to speak the words that will commit her own son.
which is great.
It's just so great that she thinks she's winning at the end, which is so fucking. That's like one of the more chilling parts of it. Is
They'll
just
say
sort of
that
like
she wouldn't even harm a fly. It's totally good. Just that's
idiot son did it all.
that smile too. That crack in the smile. Oh my god.
Yep, it's fucking great. And then the last shot of the movie, I think it's one of my all-time favorite final shots of a movie. Just the tow truck pulling this fucking car out of the swamp.
Yep, exactly.
And just the end coming right. It's so great. And that's also, it's a very TV ending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, well, we had 52 minutes to fill, and this comes at 51:47. You know what I mean? Like, this is the last thing. We got to get out of here. There's no more to this. And thank goodness there is no Sam and Lila getting together. Awful thing.
Yeah.
Awful move that would have been. Yeah. And because it's a movie in 1960, there's no credits. There's no fucking stinger scenes. There's no sequel setups. It is a tow truck dragging a car out of a swamp. Fade to black. End of movie. That is the end of Psycho. Go around the horn here. Final thoughts, Eric Siska.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Obviously, this is a great fucking movie. I will also recommend. I actually watched Psycho 2. Pretty much, I watched it before this rewatch, and it was way better than I expected. So it's probably worth checking out as well. Obviously, it's nowhere near in the same league as this, but it was a pretty good time.
Chris Cabin.
Yeah, great movie. Worth seeing. If you have not seen it, see it. I think it's well worth your time. It's not my favorite Hitchcock. It's probably my top 10, but probably it might be at 10.
Wow.
It's pretty low.
I mean, I think the guy's made like 15 outright masterpieces, so I'm like, that's fine. Anywhere in that realm, you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
But like, and I also am a fucking insane person who's seen like almost everything but like the super early shit. But what I will say is like, despite that, like you come back to this and all the like things that are incredible about this thing are still incredible. Like it's not, none of it is worn off. None of the like way he made the style of it has not dulled at all. It works and it highlights a lot of ideas that are both in the image and just suggested by the image. I think it's packed full of stuff, and I love it quite a lot.
Steve Sadak.
Yeah, I think Chris is totally right. We do get a lot of like, oh, I never saw this movie, and it's always totally. It's totally fine to have never seen a movie. By the way,
Yep.
And the easiest way to rectify that is to watch a goddamn movie. And I do think that like you could say like, oh, I get it. The dude dresses up as his mother and like kills people. We all get a little mad sometimes. There's just so much here. The performances are so good. The camera work is so gorgeous. The score just moves, and it's like $1.45 or something, $1.49. Like it's a trim little movie. It's a horror movie. You know what I mean? Like it is scary. It is, and the horror. It's again one of my favorite kinds of horror that comes in to subvert another film. You know what I mean? Because that's what horror would do, wouldn't it? Like, you know what I mean? You don't know you're in a horror movie until you're in the shower and somebody cuts your fucking throat. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's fucking fantastic. And I think that. It's just, it's a classic for a reason. It's one of my favorite Hitchcocks. I don't know where I would put it, but it's definitely one of my favorite Hitchcocks for sure.
It's number 2 for me. I'm still partial to North by Northwest. Love that guy. But this is like, I think it's like a good, gateway drug for Hitchcock if you haven't really explored that filmography. It's a very accessible movie. It's also like a good gateway to older horror. And I think that's kind of important, if you're interested in like looking back at film over the years and everything, like it's important to acclimate your brain to like things weren't always Eli Roth movies or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like, Tom Savini didn't always exist. And I think that's very important to keep in mind. I was thinking about this actually this past weekend, Steve, when you and I went to see The Shining. And there was a girl in front of me who was just too cool for the fucking room and was making a lot of like sarcastic hand gestures and shit during a total masterpiece. And I feel like that person could watch this movie and also be a total asshole about it. Like, understand that the thing you're watching was produced 64 years ago and released 63 years ago. Like it is lifetimes away from what we watch now. But like, in like with that in mind, like watch it for the filmmaking. Again, yeah, through osmosis, you probably already knew about this movie if you hadn't seen it, and before you heard us talk about the entire thing. Even still, like for the filmmaking, for the performances, for the historical significance of it, I think it's a very important movie. And I will say, I've seen all 3 sequels. 2's a good time. 3 is not great. And 4 is one of the absolute dumbest things you'll ever see in your life.
Love that.
Like, so stupid you should watch it. It was a made-for-TV movie. Real bad. Real bad.
Is Perkins back for 4 too? Did he come back for
Perkins is back for 4, and it
boy.
is he's calling into a radio show talking about like how he is about to, like, he's with a lady friend or he's married now or whatever it is, and she's gonna have a baby, and he's nervous that he's gonna like raise it like his mother raised him. So it's all this like like flashback scenes, like you see a younger Norman Bates like do the double murder of the wife and the boyfriend and everything. Like it's fucking donkey shit.
Wow.
Man. It's a real bad movie.
I have. That's the only one I haven't seen. I wasn't crazy about 3, but hey, wow, this 4th one, CCH Pounder's in it.
CCH Pounder is the woman hosting the radio show that he's calling into.
According to IMDb, one John Landis also acts in this movie.
Wow.
That I don't remember.
That's insane.
Like I got a big old box set coming to me, and I'm gonna rewatch them sequels there because I'm just that kind of person. But that is gonna do it for our Hitchcock conversation this week on Psycho. If you want more We Hate Movies, of course, check out patreon.com/We Hate Movies, where if you are a $8 level or up patron, you are listening to this very episode right now, commercial free. That's right, ad free We Hate Movies. On our Patreon, $8 level and up.
By the way, there is so much content coming at you on this fucking Patreon feed this month. You might need to take a day off of work. Chris Cabin, what are we talking about on the Nexus?
On the Nexus, we were talking about a little film called The Search for Spock.
Oh yeah,
which I, for some reason, in the middle of the episode, forgot what it was about. And then just had to look at the title, and I was like, "Oh, there we go."
There
it is.
Looks good.
That's what they're doing.
Nice roadmap right there.
And then Eric over on the Gleep Glossary, we're talking about a big boy.
We are talking about a big boy this month, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that should be a lot of fun. That is one of the premier Star Wars characters.
Now, Eric, is he blue Baba Dee Babu Da or otherwise?
Actually, he's from Planet Eiffel 65.
Oh, nice.
Is that the name of that band?
Yeah. I believe so, yes.
Nice.
I heard there's a lot of ketamine on that planet.
There is. That's what turned him blue.
So yeah, that's going on. That's a lot of fun. Oh, you can hear Eric and I try to remember what little we can about that Ahsoka season.
Yes.
And what Thrawn was farting around with on there.
We will talk about that briefly, but you can also just take a nap.
We will not talk about briefly, but we will talk about in full on Animation Damnation is the masterpiece known as Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes,
oh, yes.
Full-length episode for $3, people. You get a full-length episode on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and all of the backup ADs forever and ever, by the way.
Yeah. That's right. Animation Damnation, one of our longest running sideshow, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
So yes, full length episodes of movies featured on both the Nexus and Animation Damnation this month to celebrate We Love Movies Month. Now here on the Tuesday feed, we'll call it, because it's not the WHM feed right now. It is the WLM feed. But on the Tuesday feed, We Love Movies Month continues next week. Steve, which motion picture are we talking about then?
Oh, it's going to be a goodie. It is Batman Begins. He's starting up.
Yeah.
This is the first Batman movie ever made, and I think is it the last Batman movie ever made?
It's somewhere in the middle, I think. But I'm going to have a lot of fun revisiting it. It's been a while since I've watched this one. I remember there being great stuff in here, and there's also some stuff you could nitpick, and I'm sure we will. So I'm excited to do that.
Oh, absolutely. But, we got our bud Liam Neeson, among other things there. Oppie in the movie, of course.
That's right. Yes. Oppenheimer is in the movie, also known as Scarecrow, because he scared everyone during World War II.
Indeed.
But yes, that is next week when we're talking Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. Until then, I've been Andrew Jupin.
Arbogast.
Eric Siska.
Chris Gavin.
Take it easy.